I'm a skeptical robot.
Like a means, don't care about no feelings. Look at you with the snake eyes, you know they full of that venom. Poison the food in these sims, shape shift in their pants. Take the mask off, whip to it. Do something real serious, they can read your mind, they might hear it. How you treat me, I might mirror it. Go to war with these spears, any challenges you can't fear. No. We in a computer or Atari, Chitahari. Don't watch it back, you might be sorry. All these outside no rivals. Crocodile smiles and vipers. Ain't no telling what's liable. Movie traps and survival. But this stuff ain't got time for the energy, yeah, they want yours. These circuits got me on stuff mode. Yeah.
Hello, and welcome to Skeptical Robot. I am Luigi Greenberg. Thank you so much for being here. We have a very packed show tonight, so there is no reason for me to delay. We know that there are lots of shows you could be watching. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. We love every one of you. Let me go ahead and bring out my co-host. First off, you know him, you love him, Mr. CORNdiff. What's happening, Mr. CORNdiff?
Yeah.
Go on. Let's hear the rest of that song.
Yeah.
I could listen to that all day.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, sir. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing very, very well on this lovely, lovely Friday. Isn't our audience just the best? Let's just tell them how great they are. They are the coolest. They have the largest penises and the largest breasts of any chat out there. They are beautiful people, and we just want them to know it. Correct? Am I right about that?
Even the ladies are swinging dick. Yeah, it's the best damn audience.
and the most I don't know, just nice people. They're just very nice. They're the most wonderfully nice people.
I don't know. You've got a slightly different audience than I've got, I think. But over here I'm just not used to calling them nice. Yeah, they are nice over here. They're very nice.
They are nice. They are
because
nice
of you.
here.
It's 100% because of you.
Oh, it must be.
You do very well. Very well.
Thank you. All right. You know what? Here we go. Tiff with 3F says, dumb. There's a bag of hammers, but our tits are great. I think that says it all.
I think she meant dumb as a bag of hammers, but our tits are great.
What? That's fine. I think.
I don't know. Someone got a new hairdo.
Let's go ahead and bring out our other co-host, Mr. Gummi Chainsaw.
Hey, what up, everybody?
How are you doing tonight?
Cloaca.
Oh, great. Hope everyone's having a good time. Glad to be back. No more weeks off. Let's get at it.
Very, very glad to be back. But it was a much needed vacation.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have 2 guests waiting backstage. Let's do that. Let's do that for the next hour and a half.
Are they important? Yeah.
All right. We have 2 guests backstage, and let's go ahead and bring them out in no particular order.
Siegfried and Roy. We dug him up.
I'll let you determine which one is which. All right. Now, first, let's see. First off,
Roy's the Arab one. I'll just say that. Y'all figure it out from there.
You know, I've never gotten the Arab joke. What is the like? Why is X Corp always Arab? Is he really Arab?
Let's ask him. Let's get to the bottom of this.
All right. Well, I always see him as Arab in your thumbnails, but I never got why.
I don't know, man. No, it's just it like AI picks up on like bone structure and shit. I guess I don't know how it does it, but it pinned
AI
him.
Did its own research.
Yeah, it said fuck 23andMe. It doesn't need the spit sample. It can figure out from here.
Well, let's bring him out. And the first question we're going to ask him is, do you believe in lizard people, and are you an Arab? Please welcome X Corp. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Persian assassin, X Corp. What's happening, bud?
There's that death stare so many have seen as the last thing.
Why does CORNdiff put you as Persian? You know what? I can see why. Never mind. Let's just move on.
I was just about to say, Corn, when you said, hey, AI picks on it, do you mind telling them the prompts that you put in? Do you mind telling them the prompts that you put in for me there? That might change it a little.
I am 100% giving you like Middle Eastern music. I'm swapping it out.
Yeah, give me about 15 seconds and I can pull up the description for X Corp. It's a little bit skewed.
Yeah, the great Kali music.
Hey, actually, Great Khali just made DLC in WWE 2K25, so I can take his song and put it in.
Some things just work out. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Very nice.
Jinder Mahal, actually, from the city. I'm from Calgary.
So I asked it to give me a description of X Corp. Give me a detailed description of X Corp. All right, full name unknown. Even CORNdiff doesn't know. We want to keep it that way. Alias X Corp. Species human. All right, it went way too in depth. Origin somewhere vaguely Middle Eastern. Don't ask. He won't say. Age indeterminate. Age is like a vampire, but with protein powder instead of blood. And
vaguely Middle Eastern just sounds like something AI could just like have a lot of fun with.
Like complexion. It's mostly just the description, like complexion, deep olive tone skin with a perpetual post-gym glow. See?
AKA a greasy brown guy, you stupid. That's racist as shit. After gym glow. That's wild.
Wow.
It's making you sound like the skinny guy from the Bugs Bunny. We're going to have roast rabbit. We're going to have roast rabbit.
A post-gym glow. That's hilarious. That is
always
really
wears
genius.
Adidas.
Always wears Adidas. That's funny.
Yeah.
I do like my tracksuits, yeah.
Hey, thanks so much for being here, X Corp, even though you're already being submitted to this terrible abuse.
Yes.
Used to it 3 times a week. 3 times a week, yeah.
I appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you guys having me. This is a very fun subject that Chops and I have been talking about randomly for years.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if CORNdiff told you, but you know what? That's for another time. But I want you specifically on for a topic I have in mind that I really think is going to blow your mind. We'll talk about it later, though. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and bring out our other guest. Let's see here. The full WGNN crew. Please welcome Chops.
Chops on the mic, hate stick in the air. Wisdom in his words, though he barely seems aware. Couch strong, lava land flow. Podcast flow, mind moves slow. Back in the crunches. Dreams of matches, playing back at home. Seven tangent and names of the toughest spark. A rumor makes the room when he's sitting in the dark. Chops is on the podcast, the master of the ramble. Life's a big question and he's here to unscramble. Crowds in the room, thoughts in the sky. Turning light down, nothing in his fly. Rolling up topics like he rolls his green. Talks conspiracies in the matrix scene. Third eye open, but his lids stay shut.
Folks, here he is. The man, the myth, the legend. What's up, Chops?
Holy crap. 5's a party. Look at us all here.
Hi, Mom.
Did you see your new intro that Gummi made for you?
Love it. I
Yes.
love the hat even more. Yeah.
I had to because, full disclosure, like the first time you were on, I didn't know who you were because I was still new around here. So the only thing I saw was I had to look up your YouTube, was a video from like 4 years ago when you had that captain's hat. So that was my only point of reference. And I was like, oh, no.
I knew it.
so I was like, all right, I can update this now.
Great. Loved it.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. I do absolutely appreciate it. I love all you guys. Thank you for spending your Friday nights with this group of goofballs. Tonight's topic is something that I honestly, it really wasn't even on the top of my list until I think someone mentioned it at some point. I was like, oh yeah, we should talk about that on this show. And turns out that I brought it up with you guys, and apparently you guys have a pretty definitive opinion about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get too into it, Chops, you mind giving us a little bit of backstory on your history with David Icke and the lizard people?
Yeah, I want to say it was about 2009, 2010, somewhere around there. And this was my stage 2 of conspiracy theorist brain. Stage 1 was just Illuminati and the government's out to get you, FEMA camps. Yeah, I mean, the soft stuff. And then it led into me finding like things about ancient scriptures, and we used to be controlled by aliens, and the reason that we have snakes in all of our symbols is because we want to pass that down, and every little I could go on.
I'm curious about the FEMA camps. What is the FEMA camps conspiracy? Does this involve Joey C?
Corp, you want that one?
That's a whole different one. It involves the halftime celebration where they put FEMA camps on the field of the Super Bowl and danced around them to rap music. It was really exciting. Yeah, they put little tidbits in there.
But what is actually a FEMA camp? That's where they're going to put our bodies, right?
Yeah, or just separate people. There's like an overall conspiracy that they're split up the United States into like Hunger Games style regions, get them into FEMA camps, and everyone would have their own job, certain lumbering areas, things like that.
Think of concentration camps, but the entire world.
Labor camps.
Labor camps. There we go.
What?
I did a show with all 4 of these guys on the screen next to me here, and 2 of them are very different.
What does that have to do with the Super Bowl? I'm trying to make that connection.
Super Bowl is a mass, like where they have a lot of attention to it, a lot of viewers, so they can put hidden symbology within the performances.
Who's
they have a lot of people.
Propaganda, neuro-linguistic programming and sorts.
Yeah, the Illuminati, the people that run the world. Come on, no,
the higher guys.
Oh, Jews. All right, let's move on.
The bosses.
I get it. Now I'm following.
He can say it.
Yes.
Green
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot.
He has the
I forgot
power.
that I was Jewish.
God, I wish I could be.
Quote unquote,
So
Bilderberg.
That's a new one for me. I tend to think I'm pretty like up to date on conspiracy theories. FEMA camps. That's a new one.
Wait, are you Jewish?
Yes.
Can you tell me? I don't
No.
want to go any deeper. I don't want to go deeper.
Okay, let me see if I can.
Can you tell me what became of all those tunnels?
Yes. I believe the state government filled them with dirt. I have no idea.
Something tells me that everybody was like, they'll forget about it in probably 6 months.
Well, the thing is, though, like what
It's a
I
shitty
don't...
Jamaican accent, Chops.
I can't, dude. I cannot do. Anybody that can do Yiddish, I applaud them. It's so fucking hard.
The police showed up and said, "Everything be Irie, man."
They took 6 million of us, man.
I think I think they got filled up because they posed like serious cave-in hazards.
There's an entire civilization down there, apparently.
But it was a safety risk, so they had to fill it with dirt, and that's it.
Or cement, I'm just, but yes, a cave-in risk because, and honestly, what was the purpose of them? That I still don't know. Was it just to make
the tunnels?
I mean,
to kill Jesus.
But don't get me wrong here. I'm not criticizing it. I am literally asking, like, was it just simply to make easier pathways to places they wanted to go? Was that really it? Okay.
I got this one. Okay, so children have been getting stolen out of New York for like a long fucking time. There's a documentary.
Shout out to children being stolen.
It's about a documentary.
It's a habit, my bad.
Shout out to milk cartons.
You're a guest.
There's a documentary out there somewhere that
he's a frequent guest. He's practically family.
Sorry, Chopsy.
Go ahead, Chops.
There's a documentary out there saying that about in one night, like 10,000 children going missing. And something tells me that those tunnels probably had something to do with it.
Now hold on. This confidence that you had when you started telling us this explanation as to why they did all this, is it based on the something tells you?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So what's that? Can you elaborate?
Was there a connection to Jewish children being kidnapped?
No, just like, mostly suburban. Does that
Black
make sense?
children?
Oh yeah. Way,
Like,
dude,
okay.
they get stolen for trafficking way more than any other one does.
He's stolen for trafficking more than anyone does. To backdrops up here, there is a report. Like apparently there is like a tunnel system throughout the states. Like and in that there's like reports of the missing people like across the country, and those usually line up with the tunnel entrances. So I don't know if that's also a little bit what would lead him to believe that. But
Let's face it, we all know how they are with real estate. And no, I don't know. So they were trying to take some backdoor avenues to gain the edge and get some extra real estate.
All right.
I'll buy that.
But I am curious about these children.
Been hanging around X Corp too long. I'm sorry about this.
So Chops is saying that over one night, 10,000 children were kidnapped?
Chops says a lot.
So no, and even with that, like that was like we don't know how long that thing was open, right? So I think when Corn was even asking what came about, like not like what was the outcome, but what was going on. Like, did we figure out what the whole thing that was going on there? Because they're like, hey, a bunch of guys in a cave. This is weird. Get them out of here.
Did we ever end up with a TLDR for it? It's too long. Didn't read, Luigi. I see you looking at me.
Got it. Okay. So 10,000 black children were kidnapped from New York in a very big bus. And
it was nighttime, Luigi.
In one night, 8 hours.
So,
Is there an elderly man dying?
I gotta look this up.
Yeah,
one day,
please. And then, so a bunch of Jewish guys were like, well, there's a bunch of black kids getting stolen. Let's build us some tunnels.
Well, it's easier to catch those ones.
Underground Railroad.
I can't fucking do it.
That sounded like a German Nazi officer. Chops.
I don't know where I was going for the Yiddish again.
Put on grok.
I see nothing.
I see Nazi. It's much easier to catch those ones.
All right. You know, I think we should do, you know what? We're going to make this like a regular thing. You know, conspiracy time with Chops and X-Corp.
Couldn't think of two people better.
And then once we hit a wall with nowhere else to go, we'll move on to our topic for the evening.
Yeah, the conspiracy.
And I think we've hit that part.
Yeah. I can go on forever. There's like a lot of stuff. And I think even like what we're saying right now is a good example of like our society is just like we're moving on to the next thing. So there's no time to stop and be like, what actually happened with that? And then it's like, we got to worry about this. Iran. Nice.
Black kids.
You think you don't think you think it's just a coincidence that the Texas flooded right as the Epstein thing came out? Huh? Kind of a big distraction.
You said that.
Dude, speaking of which, is that not crazy that they just said, there was no clients, nothing to look, nothing to see here. They claimed that there was no clients, nobody on the list.
Yeah, and his lawyer is like, yeah, there is. I've seen it. So we know who's going to be dead in the next 48 hours.
Well, here's the thing though about Dershowitz. Dershowitz is a scumbag piece of garbage, lying scumbag. I mean, he has lied and he will do anything for attention and money.
Is that a lawyer?
I don't believe him. Yeah. Alan Dershowitz. Look him up. Okay. Look him up. He's got
feel like what you said covers.
Yeah. A long list of crazy things he's done just for $1. The guy fucking defended O.J. Simpson. How's that? He was part of O.J. Simpson's
Oh,
legal
You mean
team.
he got O.J. Simpson off? Is what you
Yeah.
mean? Yeah, he
Yeah.
defended him
And
successfully.
so the guy who successfully defended OJ is telling you something. And look, I don't know where you stand on facts and evidence, but
Don't
Team
need
Kardashian. Team Kardashian for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's dead by suicide, we'll know he wasn't lying. It's just like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's a lot of the conspiracy stuff. It's like I'm not one of the ones that's like, hey, I told you, but it's like where there's smoke, there's usually fire, and there's a lot of smoke in a lot of places. So,
and I don't deny that. And
smoke.
when it comes to the Epstein thing, I don't really have like a stance on it. I believe that it's perfectly logical to think there's a client list. I also think it's perfectly logical to draw our conclusions based on flight records. If they were flying on his plane, those things are publicly available. I think there's a lot of stuff that we can draw a conclusion from, but there still just needs to be a smoking gun or just something out there to tie it all together in order for it to make it valid. Whatever. Yes, missing in action. Thank you. Dershowitz is the Chad Zumach of lawyers. Thank you. That says it very well. So anyway,
yeah, where
that
there's
was
smoke,
fun.
there's
And
underage fire.
what's that?
Say where there's smoke, there's underage fire.
In New York.
I don't know what to think about that. Like to also think that he kept records of client names also means that maybe he wasn't. I don't know. You don't ask for clients from many other people. Why would he have a client list? Anyway, I really can say a lot for both sides. So I'm just not decided on anything. But anyway, all that to simply say is we're here for lizard people. Enough about Jewish tunnels, black children being kidnapped, and Jamaican
Jamaican
cops.
Jews.
What Jamaican Jews.
Jamaicans.
Jews.
They're called Jamaicans. Be sensitive.
Hey, look who's there in the chat. What's up, Brady?
What's up, Brady? God dang. We've been missing you.
Hey, Bray Bray.
All right. Well, I guess we'll get to it. I really want to dive into this more, but I got to admit, I'm a little afraid. I'm just like, what are they going to say if I ask them to keep going? That's a weird one. Anyway, so
COVID was a hoax.
Luigi, quickly before we move on, what were your thoughts on Building 7? No, I'm just kidding.
I gotta tell you, man, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just not. Like,
Yet.
I always tend to think there's a way more logical, reasonable explanation until I see evidence for something different.
The insurance he took out like days before wasn't just insurance. It was terrorist insurance he took out on the building.
I had friends that died in 9/11, and I'm glad they're gone. Dang lizard! Thank you for the 2 croissant dollars.
On to something better. There we go.
Thanks that you were here for my people. Thank you so much.
That's
for
the best 9/11 take I think I've ever heard in my life.
I really didn't know how to end that when I started it. I thought I'm glad that got a laugh because I was like, where am I going with this?
Oh, I'm stealing that for business meetings.
Best way.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. He already left. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the lizard people conspiracy theory, but what we're also going to talk about, in addition to David Icke is actually not going to be the whole conversation here. He's only going to be a small portion of it because guess what? David Icke stole this theory. He is not the one who came up with it. It's actually been around for a while. Even the terms he uses, he stole.
This doesn't sound like the David Icke I know.
And I really struggled with what videos to use for our coverage of David Icke. And I went with something that I thought was really kind of middle of the road because there's a lot of shit out there that either makes him an angel and there's other shit that makes him a demon. And I really wasn't sure which one to go with because I was like, I really want this to be objective and just simply talk about the guy. I think he's full of shit, but he's just still a guy. And he's making money and he's grifting like every other grifter that we talk about. But I'm not really here to put any kind of real, I don't know, stink on his name. I really kind of just want the audience to hear what he has to say and make their own conclusions because it's nonsense.
That's right.
Hey, look at this hamhead. Thank you for the 10 Luigi Greenberg memberships. Thank you, buddy. We almost thought you weren't going to make it here. Thank you for being here. Oh, and you know what I haven't done? I didn't even think to do any of my stingers. Here, hold on a second here. Dang Lizard, this is for you.
Thank you for the super chat.
Oh my god!
I fucking love it.
If you guys have never seen the movie Miami Connection, it's the greatest movie ever made. I don't. Were you guys here when I introduced this one? Here, hold on.
My phone.
That's Mrs. CORNdiff.
That's right. Hardcore.
Hey, Taxes Theft, thank you very much for the 1 Luigi Greenberg membership. I appreciate that. I want to give you something. Let's give you this. That was actually not the one I meant to play. I got a lot of shit here. I got to organize this shit better. I'm starting to get a little lost. Let's see.
It was still a winner.
It was. And then we got this one. Hamhead. Thank you for the $5. Sorry I'm late, everyone. And when you ask, you receive, sir. Oh. You're going to get a symphony of farts.
Let's give him his video fart drop.
That is
the TV.
That is what my audience. That's what my audience brings to the table. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everyone. Let's see. Wow, got a lot of people here. Thank you so much for being here. All right, so let's get started. Let's talk a little bit about an overview of the lizard people conspiracy. Do you remember much about the lizard people conspiracy, Chops? About like what their goals were and what they did and all the details of it?
Well, yeah, there's a lot to it, and as we start going, I'm gonna start remembering the details.
Okay. That was something that I found surprising. The well goes pretty deep, and I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I really thought it was kind of a surface level joke, where there's lizard people and they want to control the world, and that's where it ended. But no, there's a lot to it. Anyway, let's get to it. Unless, of course, you want to talk more about Jews and children.
Wow, I thought you'd never ask. We'll get to that later.
Plenty of time.
Save it for the Jew segment.
I'd say whose autobiography is Jews and Children.
Sponsored by.
That's another segment. First is going to be conspiracies with ex-corporate Chops, and then Jew talk.
Look at her eyes.
So we're going to start here with some clips of what people believe the lizard people conspiracy is in real time, or I guess it's say witnessing it. And here's some clips of people who think they've caught lizard people in the act of being lizards.
Watch out for the eyes.
And beneath it was a reptile.
That's proof right there. Why are we even doing this episode after this?
I don't even know anything else.
That's
right there.
That's just a frame fragment of her pupils, but whatever.
During the time this crime happened, why didn't they believe that the first time around?
Yeah, nah.
So not
also, nah.
No lie, I actually had a boss who had one eye, not even both, one that looked like this. Like it was like the pupil dripped down. And man,
Looked like a runny egg yolk.
yes, it's exactly what it looked like. And when he would like talk to you, like seriously, I couldn't hear a fucking word he ever said because I couldn't stop staring at that eye.
Did he get his eyeball scratched? Maybe.
I never asked, but
Were his pupils like those are cat eyes, right? Like the pupils we're all seeing are like the other way.
Wood.
I was gonna say that was the turn on.
All right, now we're gonna get a little bit of an overview here.
Claim there's some secret shadowy force clandestinely controlling world events. But who exactly is pulling the strings? The Freemasons? The Illuminati? To a small but vocal group, the culprits are lizards, extraterrestrial iguana-like creatures that eat people.
In 2000,
I still don't get. Well, whatever. I could. It's funny. There's so many moments here where I want to derail the conversation. Where I'm like, but.
And please feel free to, because once again, this is a Vice opinion piece. So there's like obviously different layers. Like Chops was saying, there's like the people that are like, hey, these are ancient civilizations. They've been around forever. They're shapeshifters. They're in like the media and the world elite. And then there's like, who eat people? And he makes it like overly ridiculous, which it's already ridiculous, but you know what I mean? It's like, that's not in any of the shit that I hear.
Well, I didn't want to stick to, I didn't want to stick to any one source. So that part was from a Vice because I like the way he like gave it an overview, but we're going to have like a lot of different perspectives on it.
2013, public polling revealed that a small but not entirely negligible portion of the United States population subscribed to the idea that a race of shape-shifting lizard people control our world.
So there's actually a 2013 poll that went out asking people, and it turns out this isn't a joke. And that's really what shocked me was I really always thought this was a goof. I thought this was something that people were like, ha ha ha, kind of like Scientology to some extent, where we all just laugh about it. But then you find out, oh wait, people really believe this shit. I didn't know that. So that was kind of surprising to me.
By taking on human form and gaining power. By comparison, the same poll found that 7% of respondents believed the moon landing was fake, and 5% claimed the Beatles member Paul McCartney died in 1966 and was secretly replaced with a body double.
So the reason they're saying that is to give it context of saying that this is they said 4% of the people polled believe this, and they're giving some context about where other crazy conspiracy theories or crazy beliefs fall in line with that amount of 4%.
Paul McCartney's dead. He was replaced.
R.I.P. OG Paul.
Yeah. Replaced by a lizard person?
Taken too soon.
Blended together?
We'll find out.
It's
Maybe.
in the eyebrows.
You never know.
Eyebrows.
Ever since around the early 2000s, there has been this idea floating around in our popular consciousness that a collection of famous people, from our political leaders to celebrities, are secretly reptile-like aliens disguised as humans. These mysterious beings from another planet have been delicately influencing us throughout our distant and not-so-distant past for malicious purposes. They control the government and popular culture.
Now that's the thing, though, is when you hear, or when I hear, for malicious purposes, I feel like I need a little bit more information on the idea. What do they get out of this?
Power, control, money. Like mainly just control, power, money in the end.
But they're space aliens. What does money mean to them?
I've always asked that. Yeah, but control.
Just control. I think it would be
control
like
over us.
Everybody needs a hobby.
But what do our dollars do for them on their planet?
It's not what it does for them. It's what it does for us. So that they're controlling it controls us.
It's like Kiki bucks.
Yeah.
Yes.
In my realm, they really dug at. There's two big things in the conspiracy world that are definitely true. One is that there's no such thing as death. Two, no such thing as money. And they use that. They use death and money to really harness on making you really focus on the wrong things, quote unquote. You know, it's as humans, we're supposed to venture out and do really different things, but they kind of got us by the balls with all these distractions.
Yeah, and to preempt that a little bit, so some of the theory being that it's like to give the lizard people is that they harvest emotions, like they harvest on human emotions. So like on our
Go
negative
on.
emotions, they were to eat. That's how they get their energy. Once
You
again,
piqued
these
my
are all the
interest.
random shit that's out there for all the stuff. I'm just giving you what's out there, but they like they harvest, and they call it loosh farming is the term that you might randomly stumble across in the weird web.
I've never heard. What is that?
Loosh farming. So like a loosh event would be like like you're watching sports and your team loses at the last second, and you're all in a stadium, and you have a mass release of like negative energy in a sense, or positive or whatever. So that's where a lot of the statements come out from, like rituals where it's like, man, they had a bunch of people there, and then this happened, or they were able to get this. That's where all the weird stuff comes from.
Take global, like take a mass meditation and what it's supposed to do, which I do think it does stuff. I just maybe not what they say, and put it into negative energy. It's like this big burst of energy being released all at once, and if they can calculate with the day to do that, they can somehow get in lizard form and embrace and start eating up this bad mojo.
Is that their post-loosh clarity?
This topic might have been a mistake.
And once again, just providing more context of like where everything else comes from. We're obviously not in full belief of this, but I definitely heard a shitload of this stuff.
I still don't get it.
So like, it's just more or less like control. Like, how does a small amount of people control a large amount of people? The hierarchy, like I saw the queen in there. There's like that one's the the one that everyone loves going down. It's like the queen and their whole line are lizard people.
Well, that's because you're Canadian. Like, doesn't your law eventually come from the queen?
I didn't say anything. I think the queen is one of the greatest people to ever embrace this beautiful earth.
I'm gonna have so many questions when this is over.
No, this is like just providing context. I hope we don't say like, "Hey, this is what we're saying, Luigi."
No.
It's like,
I just don't get it. Like to hear that death and money don't exist. No, they absolutely do exist. I don't get that one. And then to hear your loosh event when I thought you were like talking about that Olympic sport when you go down the icy tube. I was like, the luge event. Yeah. What does that have to do? And then you started explaining this. I was like, oh, we're not talking about the luge. And
wait,
I'm lost. I'm very lost. What?
Now, Luigi, Luigi, you say like this is like kind of crazy and like you don't know what to make of it. It's some sort. This is just the beginning.
Oh, I'm getting that.
This is where the majority of modern conspiracy theorists kind of like started.
But that's what's crazy is that, okay, we'll get to it later. But here's the thing. When I say crazy, I'm not saying any more or any less than any other religion. Sure. And I don't want that to come off. This is just as nuts as, that some guy was killed and then they rolled a stone and he was up saying, I've been here the whole time, guys. Let's go eat.
Conspiracies is kind of like a religion. I'm glad you pointed that out.
I think it even came, I want to say this even came from religion, from Adam and Eve's story and the snake that's in that story.
Hold your tongue.
Yes.
No spoilers, because that is going to get brought up. and it's really funny because that was really one of the things that shocked me, that like everything that I looked into specifically talks about, well, here's where it started, the Bible. And I'm like, oh God, I never got that. And what I find funny though is that if you ever we'll talk about this a little bit later, I guess.
Hey, Chops.
What's up?
Question. So if death and money don't exist, why do you have to pay for a funeral?
Shit, nice question. Now, when he says like death doesn't exist, I'm assuming what he meant is that like you just go on to the next life, or like you're supposed to be getting ready for death throughout your life, kind of like an Egyptian, and to not really worry about it.
I'm sorry.
I'm guessing that it was kind of a religious angle by saying death doesn't exist. Don't focus on money. But I think it's open to interpretation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah. All right.
Hi, Red Rooster.
There's so much to talk about already. It's just like I think I might need to take some notes.
Telling us what to think and what to do.
We could be a food source.
It was
It
Bill
is named as
Clinton.
one of the more absurd and nutty conspiracies out there, and to most people it has rightfully become a sort of widespread joke. However, for others, it is no joke at all. There are people who emphatically believe in this conspiracy, often citing evidence from history, cultural mythology, and archaeology that supposedly supports its existence. Where does this reptilian conspiracy come from?
You know what actually is a big factor that I learned about this this conspiracy is Arab history.
Corp.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly.
First off,
What is
I have
the
to explain
alleged
this
evidence
to
held up
our
in its
audience. There are many types of brown people, okay? Not all
But
browns
only
are
one
Arabs.
kind of Arab.
Hey, Corp.
Yeah.
Is the moose the camel of Canada? I think you can answer that.
That is crazy.
That actually is kind of thought provoking.
Not even close.
And why are there people who actually believe in it?
All right, now here is the theory.
Okay, so as with nearly any conspiracy,
Now, I don't love this guy. I really kind of
Because the mustache.
disliked him.
Ned
As, yes, he does, and he talks like him too. I kind of disliked this guy by the end of this. However, I had to hand it to him. He really broke this down really well, and I appreciated it. But I apologize. You're probably going to hate him in the next couple of minutes too.
there are usually variations in belief, but for the most part, the theory posits that there is a race of reptilians, or lizard people, if you will, and you should, that work in secret to dominate and rule over humans like you and me. Now, while the suggested origin of these lizard people varies from theorist to theorist, some say that they're from Earth, some say that they're from space, some say that they started on Earth, went to space, and came back. The one thing that most
Okay, you know what? This is a really interesting place to start where we talk about the deviation of the theory. Try to give as sincere an answer as you can. Corpse, what did... Corp?
Corpse.
I totally combined corp and chops. Did you hear that?
Nice.
New
Corp,
show.
when if you have ever entertained this thought, what was your belief system as where they came from?
Oh, probably ancient civilization that's just been here.
Okay.
And
So
ability
they were here
to,
the whole time.
like, yeah, they don't have the same lifespan as us. That would have just been like the one that would make the most sense from everything that was crazy.
And how
I
about
don't
you,
believe
Chops?
Space is fully real, so.
What was the question?
Is corp Persian?
You're just going to throw me out there, huh?
No. The question is, like, based on your own journey with this belief system, did you believe that the lizards were from space or from Earth? Did you care?
Hold on. Yeah, no. From Earth.
I knew 60% of those words you just used.
They originally created us to harvest gold because it's the most valuable thing and one of the most valuable things in the universe right now.
They're not doing a good job. I have gold here in my house. They didn't get
hide it.
Hide it from
And
lizards.
And they say they try to get as much gold as they can, like, hence, God, what's that place called that we lock shit up? Like gold bars.
Alcatraz.
Fort Knox.
Fort Knox, there we go. They say that Fort Knox and the lizard people are kind of like
Alcatraz.
one and one with each other.
We like to go on these.
Guantanamo.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been the better. Disneyland.
All right. Interesting. Okay, because that is something I find interesting was that I didn't realize there were deviations. There are different denominations of this belief system. Didn't know that.
Word. Perfect
I really
word. It's much like religion. Like there was kind of maybe a few stories, but then everyone's like, "No, this one doesn't include enough brown people." Like, I'm going this way. You know what I mean?
There's actually a lot of hey, look at that.
Hey.
Gummi Chainsaw.
We caught you. Hey, that's good. I like that. We caught you. Shapeshifter.
No idea what you're talking about.
most folks agree on is that these motherfuckers are evil. So how do these lizard folk go from ruling
He
in
looks like a
secret to
barista.
getting
It's
brought
like,
up
"Sir,
in Love
I just want my
Island
coffee."
casual contestant conversation? Well, the reptoid...
I've told you already. I have to go.
It's
Please.
like, bro, just double whip. Come on.
Let's can thank former soccer player, sports reporter, and hot take haver David Icke for absolutely and utterly.
Now that's one thing that I didn't like about him is he couldn't even get the fucking name right.
David
bro.
Icke.
David Icke.
Way to do your investigative journalism, bud.
Yeah. You have one job, Twinkle Toes.
Exactly. Ick.
Unless
blowing
it's
up
like
their
a
spot.
joke.
It's also worth noting that David Icke's ideas are kind of problematic and borderline prejudice, but we'll get to that later. In
How did
1998,
he look
David Icke
worse
released
young?
a book called The Biggest.
How does he
Purple trench
pronounce
coat,
bike?
A Columbo podcast. I asked for oat milk. Shut up about the fucking lizards.
Secret, where two people he interviewed claimed that the British royal family were not in fact humans, but lizard people. Icke also claims that George W. Bush, Henry Kissinger, Bill, and Hillary
Check
Clinton and Bob Hope are lizard people as well. Icke says that the reptoids are responsible for the JFK assassination, Princess Diana's death, and even 9/11. According to Icke,
All right. I feel like that's enough of a bomb for us to try to unpack a little bit here. Now, Corp, I know that you're probably on this panel the most conspiratorial. I've heard you talk about stuff before that that really kind of goes down a well. Do you subscribe to any of those beliefs that they are connected in any way? JFK's assassination. Now, I'm not talking necessarily about lizard people, but do you believe that all conspiracies are all from one conspirator? How's that?
Ooh, that's a great way of putting it. I can get a lot, like never one, but like I can see how there could be a group like that would control. Like, and like
Okay.
I don't think of it as even too far fetched of an idea because there's like the Bilderberg. There are powerful groups right now that do it in a corporate level, and I don't see that as a stretch to think that that could happen at a level that we wouldn't know because
Okay.
not everything's public. So. Yeah,
Okay.
but not like I wouldn't think like, oh man, another one that's chalking up. But like, I don't know. I think there's also false flags for like country that like would be used as like defense strategy. So I think there's like a bunch of shit that like gets pulled in, and then everyone puts the brush on it. It's like conspiracy theorists again. When it's like some of the stuff like might be provably true as like defense strategies.
Yeah.
False flags for against countries. Like there are other things at play. But the people who are like, oh, the lizard people again, or the people who are like fucking conspiracy theorists. I feel like there's always a happy medium somewhere in between.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
This is why they had to create the crazy conspiracy theorists like David Icke and Alex Jones, is to make the theories look so bad that nobody's ever going to start believing in them because people that are actually spouting this knowledge. Let me tell you, if we had a Socrates type of guy, kind of just talking whimsically with proverbs and shit like that, people will be paying much more attention.
Yeah, and going on that like train of thought, this like the Socratic method of just doing things and like asking questions, trying to find out answers yourself. It's like you're either pulled down one of those two extremes of like crazy conspiracy or like you like don't like it's over the top on the conspiracy theorists are nuts here. Nothing's a conspiracy. No one's ever out for any type of political or power gain or money gain. And I don't believe either if those are true, right? You don't think anything's a conspiracy ever? Like nothing is conspiratorial to you ever? Like no governments ever use like stuff to their own advantage? Or
I don't default to it. I'm willing to hear. I know that conspiracies exist. I'm willing to hear the evidence for it. I've just never heard adequate evidence for a widespread conspiracy. And my biggest thing specifically is that people can't keep fucking secrets. And the more people that you introduce into a conspiracy, like let's just say, for example, like JFK, I find that one so hard to buy because there's so many people involved. And I think to myself, your odds of keeping a secret significantly decrease with every new person you involve.
Absolutely.
And so that's why I just can't, I can't buy into it. I just can't.
Yeah.
But what's funny though is Matt Hibner actually said in here that it sounded like I was interrogating you, and that's not my intention. My intention is actually to kind of relate the believability of this conspiracy theory. So I'm asking you guys specifically because I know that y'all are knowledgeable of it, just kind of what some of the elements and factors are to build to make someone believe this as a whole. So like there's little pieces of it here and there where I think to myself, maybe you believe this piece, maybe you believe this little element of it, but then when you add it all together, maybe this isn't that crazy for someone to believe if they're predisposed to it. I'm not trying to give it credibility. I think this is nonsense bullshit.
Totally.
But
And that's where I'm trying to give you
Yeah.
the more context to where some of it might. So it doesn't sound like everyone's on like the holy lizard people are everywhere. Like there are little bits that like could make sense, which is just like religion. It's just like any other like scams. Like, man, that actually has some point to it. So I'm just giving you the whole
Believability.
context of where it is. Yeah.
No, exactly. And by the end of this, I'm probably going to be a believer in lizard people.
No.
Here you go.
Icke, the Anunnaki and ancient species of prehistoric alien demigods came from the Orion, Sirius, and Draco constellations, created humans, and then created a reptilian-human hybrid. Making sense, right? Additionally, Icke suggests that lizard people drink human blood, which allows them to shapeshift into human form, allowing them to, I guess, then become a vaudeville legend and have an airport named after them.
So did you know that aspect of it, that they drink blood?
So once again, it feels like this is getting, it's like there are some parts of like random conspiracy and people like this put it in as the same thing. Like there's a, have you heard of adrenochrome, at least in Leaving Las Vegas? Like
that'll actually get brought up a little bit later, but
Cool,
but
yeah.
I'm
But even
I
on
am
the kind
I am
of stuff.
talking about I am talking about specifically like the lizards here.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
When they say blood, I don't think it's blood. I think it's the adrena blood.
Period blood.
Yeah, period
I
blood.
think they meant the metaphorical blood, like the brain essence.
Yeah, man.
Exactly.
The blood you feel from all that looshing.
We've made it 4 minutes into this.
Hit like, man.
Yes, please like and subscribe. Our members
that like button.
Our members only content is much more lighthearted. We're going to be watching toy commercials here soon.
Oh, I love that segment.
It is written that presidents and prime ministers have either been lizard people themselves or have been possessed or controlled by lizard people, and that they have had control over powerful offices since ancient times, like when Shrek 1 came out. Pretty heavy stuff, right? So what is there that even supports these wild-ass claims? Well, a little bit. Kind of. Maybe.
This guy's got more
Now,
camera
while I'm
angles
not
than
all
John.
in on the reptilian theory just yet, I will say that it's not untrue that some very powerful people objectively look like lizards. And if you watch enough footage of politicians and high-level CEOs, you will find at least a few frames of them doing odd things. Now, maybe that's because to achieve a high level of success, you kind of just have to throw out being an altogether normal person. Or maybe they're lizard people. What's most interesting...
I like this from Matt Hibner. This mustache guy is likely a lizard himself. Running diversion tactics. Look at his eyes. I agree.
I was about to say that douche stash looks fake.
It does. And I want to get past this guy. This guy annoys me.
is that, and this is a fact, is that a lot of US presidents and very powerful people are related.
Okay, so now here's another thing about the theory I didn't know is that everything is based on inbreeding and that everyone is related. I didn't know that either.
Shout out to inbreeding.
Shout out to inbreeding. Yeah.
I have a nervous twitch with that now, Corn. When you hear that at a club, and I'll shout out the most random thing I just heard.
Shout out to air horns.
Shout out to white people dancing hilariously.
And this is interesting. Yeah. So supposedly there are like elements, factors, denominations, whatever you want to call it, of the lizard conspiracy that believe that the Queen of England is related to every American president in some way. And I didn't know that either. But what's funny is before you actually do the research and find out the whatever you want to call it, the reality of it, but also the evidence of it, now that we can do biological testing, is kind of where this is blowing up, is that an argument can be made that anybody is related to anybody else within some sort of amount of reality, you know? It's weird. It's a weird one, but more than anything, what I find hilarious is that before that, when these claims were being made, that there was no evidence given at all, and people still believed it.
Yep.
Anyway.
Very distantly, but related. For example, President Barack Obama is a distant cousin of the Bushes, Gerald Ford, Lyndon B. Johnson, Harry Truman, and James Madison, as well as Winston Churchill. President
It's a little
Franklin
weird,
Delano
isn't it?
Roosevelt was related, again, very distantly, to 11 other U.S. presidents.
But he's saying that within dozens and dozens and dozens of generations and timelines that you can make an argument for anything. You might be able to make an argument that that I'm related to some Persian guy named Mexcorp, and if you do enough research, so that's what he's saying.
I ever met a Persian guy named X-Corp.
I did today,
including Madison, both Adams, Van Buren, Harrison, Taylor, Grant, the other Harrison, Taft, and of course the other Roosevelt. I mean, his own wife Eleanor was his 5th cousin. Hell, according to genealogy experts at genie.com, you go back
that's
far
5th
enough,
cousin.
Hillary
Fuck
Clinton
off.
and Donald Trump were 19th cousins.
Practically a
so
stranger.
Is that evidence of ancient reptilian bloodlines secretly infiltrating and controlling our...
You do that.
Is second cousin weird?
I don't even know that I know a 5th cousin. Like I don't even know.
I couldn't go 4th cousin for sure.
I don't think I have one.
I don't know that I could make it 3rd. I don't know that I could go 3rd, that I've ever met anyone beyond a 3rd cousin in my life. So that is pretty much a stranger to some. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good argument.
I mean, you can have relations without having, no babies, right?
No babies.
Yeah, you can abort him.
Gummy. I think that is going to be our first shirt, our first skeptical robot shirt. No baby.
No baby. When
No,
Plan B fails. No baby.
They won't come out all like,
5th generation equals no baby. That's a shirt.
It just kind of, how ancestry works. I don't know. Either way, you're gonna want to know how to spot a reptoid. And that brings us to board time. Yeah. So let's start with the easy okay? Avi dead giveaways that you're talking to a lizard. We got the forked tongue. Blue.
Does anybody know anyone with a forked tongue?
They don't get into
know.
that. There ain't no way.
I'm saying I know a girl who has like the split tongue. Does that count?
I do know someone with a forked tongue.
I have to turn the porno when I find out they have a forked tongue.
I do know someone with a forked tongue. It was done on purpose, but they do have a forked tongue.
Bet that person's a freak.
They are. But yes, this guy's being a little ridiculous, but we're going to get into the real stuff. But
yeah.
Or green scales instead of skin. They lay eggs. But those are easy. According to one source at Alien Hub, there are more subtle signs that someone is a lizard person or have been possessed.
When I heard Alien Hub, I was a little afraid to look it up because I thought maybe it was like Pornhub, but for aliens. But
nice. Was it?
If somebody else wants to look, I said I was too afraid.
Oh,
I didn't want to look
I'm
it
in
up
on this one. I got this. I'll take this.
I figured that put me on a list.
That's by reddish hair.
So he believes that. So supposedly this one is real. That's even something David Icke says. I believe it's David Icke says that gingers, reptiles.
Facts.
Say it. They
Yeah, that one's
keen
easy to believe,
eyesight
right?
or hearing. If I had
Having keen eyesight or hearing, lizards.
keen eyesight, I would be wearing glasses to throw people off. Low blood pressure. Everything.
Low blood pressure. Now again,
Mom.
again, David Icke and all of these reptile conspiracy theorists have something in common, is that they love to make claims and never provide an ounce of evidence. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming these are all just written on the back of a pizza box during a drunken evening. I don't know where any of these come from or what the basis of were their connection to lizards in any way. But this is what they say, and this is what people tend to believe.
You know what
That is Mark Zuckerberg. Reddish hair. It's got the jawline.
All right.
Yeah.
No,
Were you gonna
honestly.
say, Gummy? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, Gummy, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that low blood pressure, which means he probably has high blood pressure, but doesn't want to admit he's fucking taking too much salt. So he's like lizard people.
There you go. There you go.
He's a weird freaking dude, man. If you saw him like doing his the debate in Congress or whatever, wherever it was, he's just so straightforward, doesn't blink. He's nuts.
110/90, lizard person.
Yeah,
he's a lizard, dude. I'm gonna put my. If there is one, he's the dude.
Yeah, I think there's also fun one that they replace people with lizard people. You know what I mean?
Okay, all right.
That's another fun one.
I do not have the low blood pressure qualification. I eat terribly.
Things chill, dude. ESP, UFO connections. A love of space or science. Space.
What?
A predominance of green or hazel eyes that can change color.
That's the one I wanted to get to. If you have green or hazel eyes or blue, and you like science, lizard.
My sister, this is getting crazy.
I'm questioning if I'm a lizard. I don't know. I might be.
A sense of not belonging to the human race.
I'm a lizard, folks. I'm a lizard. It's
Wait, stick out your tongue, Luigi.
wait, hold on. I can. Hold on. Wait, I actually can. Shit. Hold on.
I worked on this.
Let's see if it'll work.
Just for the.
Hold on. See if it'll work.
Shout out to this time.
Ah, damn it! It won't work. I can puff out my cheeks.
There it is.
Lizards can't do that. Do you know that? They can't puff out their cheeks.
Frog.
Oh my god.
That's true. Frog. Okay.
Damn it.
I don't belong to the
You don't feel like you're
A deep
human.
compassion for the fate of mankind.
I'm not a lizard person.
Unexplained scars on the body. An affinity for those
If your
On the
pronouns
body-
are snake turtle. you're
Did you hear that qualification though? Unexplained scars on the body, as opposed to like unexplained emotional scars.
Yeah.
lucky Valentine's Day hearts. That's not actually on the list, but who likes those? But even without that, many powerful people exhibit many of these signs. But does that make them
Yes.
lizard people? Okay, so here's a conspiracy theory pro tip. And this goes for nearly any conspiracy theory. If you present evidence in the right order and don't present evidence against, you can make a compelling case. So now let's talk about the problem. Back to David Icke, the leading reptilian conspiracy theorist. He was a famous soccer player in the UK who had to retire after developing arthritis at age
Do you
21.
mind if I just
He
put in
became
a quick a rebuttal to that comment?
Allahu Akbar. Got it.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was going to say. Incredibly racist. No, but also, if you put compelling evidence against anything and make it sound ridiculous, you can also make a case that it's ridiculous. So, like, if you only lean one way, that's a biased statement that is very self-serving, and you can do that both ways. That's like just to be known.
I do find it odd that he said that that's how to make a conspiracy argument. I feel like that's how to make an argument for anything.
So how to make, exactly. You
I
just,
do
like-
agree with you. Yes. You know, I at some point I could probably put facts together to tell you that 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4 and not provide evidence and probably get somebody to believe me if I did it, you know, hard enough or just whined enough about it, which is honestly what I think a lot of conspiracy theories are.
Terrence Howard looking at you, bud.
And yeah, I agree. So to say that that's limited to conspiracy theories, I believe is disingenuous. I believe it is limited to anything.
Mm-hmm. And he's doing the exact opposite. Like, he's making everything sound like crazy, like only in his way, where it's like, once again, it's still crazy, but you can still put both ways on like a real front of it and do real research, which is why I appreciate what you guys do.
I'm very biased. I don't mean to. I just like for people to draw their own conclusions of how crazy something sounds.
In all fairness, I'd be biased against anything this guy says.
Yeah,
totally, man.
I want to get past
this guy.
Yeah, like
He resigned from the Green Party
I'd
in the
rather
early
like hear
1990s.
vegan talks about crossfitting than listen to this guy talking.
I feel like I adequately warned you guys. I was like, you're
Yeah.
going to hate this guy at the end, but still, I felt like he did a good job.
Which
of-
later
of-
banned him, and he toured the country telling people
Putting
he
the
was
stuff
the son
together.
of the Godhead, and was generally laughed out of good favor in the UK. His theory.
So that is something we're going to get to, is that yes, David Icke, the guy who is the main modern day propagator of the lizard people conspiracy, did go live on TV once and say he was the son of God.
Oh yeah.
He did say Godhead a couple of times. He used it like interchangeably, but he did essentially say, I'm Jesus. And
How was that received?
Here's what's funny. There is a documentary out there that I would like for us to watch for members only, in which it is a interview of him watching that video and talking about all of the feedback that he got after it happened, and it's pretty funny. It was not received well. But here's what's interesting also is that I don't think I realized that he was a celebrity before that. I knew he had played soccer, but he was a sports commentator. So imagine a sports commentator, a famous sports commentator here in the US, who suddenly just starts saying, I'm God. So let's say Marv Albert is like, yes, I am Jesus. or I can't even.
Stephen A. Smith,
Joe Buck just goes on interviews and starts telling Dr. Phil and Oprah, well, you know what? Through all of my experience of commentating on sports, I've really found my value, and I think I am the son of God.
So he kind of doubles down, and he writes in one of his books is that everybody can be Christ-like. You know, we can have the powers of creating miracles and whatnot. So I'm assuming he took the whole like, well, what I meant when I said I'm Jesus is that we can all be Jesus.
John Madden was the Messiah.
So I've been picturing the whole time John Madden in a robe.
Me to it.
That's the greatest. Fucking great one.
Jesus eating a hot dog.
Theories have often been labeled as anti-Semitic. While some of the people on the list aren't Jewish, Icke has stated that the Rothschilds, a prominent and influential Jewish family, are actually blood-sucking reptilians. It claims that he's not criticizing real Jews, just many lizard people posing as Jews. These are his words, not mine. He's also been labeled a Holocaust denier, positing both that Jews may have funded the Holocaust or that it didn't happen at all. So are we under the rule of a bloodline of reptilian aliens intent on sucking our human blood and shape-shifting their way into our hearts and minds? Or is this just, and excuse my language, a bunch of horse apples?
That was enough of him. But
God.
So what's interesting, though, is that I also didn't realize that David Icke doesn't stop at the lizard people conspiracy. He starts making a lot of claims. I shouldn't say start. Since he's gained his popularity, he continues to make a lot of crazy claims, again, with not a shred of evidence, but he doesn't really seem to slow down in his ideas. And so, in a weird way, his conspiracy theories evolve. He's written a lot of books with new conspiracy theories. He latches, none of them are particularly original, just a little crazy. Well, actually, no, there was one I heard that was pretty original. He believed that 5G internet was actually depriving human brains of oxygen. He doesn't seem to stop. It just continues to go. And I started to think about it, and I thought of it as like a business model. You constantly have to be innovating to stay on top of it. I just don't get how he gets an audience to buy it, especially when it gets crazier and crazier. I guess the same could be said of Alex Jones.
Yep.
In a weird way, it's like you just gotta keep reinventing yourself.
I want to say that they're cult enthusiasts. They're very great at talking. They can arouse a crowd and whatnot, and it will stick on people, especially if you're a 24-year-old in California, single, trying to get his life together, but
trying to meet chicks,
trying to find meaning to life, and that's what sucks anybody into any radical theory, radical thought. It's by life is bad. Yeah, go ahead.
Totally, and they use a term. Are you familiar with the term Gish Gallop?
Yes.
So
God,
they use
using all these words I've never heard before.
Gish Gallops, it's a good one. It's like a way that like it's an argument tactic where I just overwhelm you with shit. And so it's like they are like you want it like, hey, let's go, like even right now, like, hey, let's go look up the lizard people. By the way, lizard people, ancient technology, they run the world, they do this. So there's so much shit that they're popping in that we're not fucking proving anything. It all sounds bullshit because of the overwhelming nature of it. So like and like this is like for you, this would be something that you should be complaining about conspiracy theories. Like this is a term that you would use on that.
The exact same thing is the exact same trick, I should say, is a technique is used by psychics when cold reading. Load you up with a ton of information, and allow you to pick out the things that connect. And then once you can pick out the things that connect, you think that I told you, something that I didn't really tell you. I've never heard it called that.
Lawyers use it all the time, apparently. That's where I heard it from the first time.
Yeah, it's like a debate technique. And it's not like a
what was
good
it called?
one.
A goosh waddle or
Gish
something?
Gallop.
Gish Gallop,
Gish, and
Alright.
gallop like a horse. And that's two separate words. But yeah, it's like just it's a debate technique where they don't care about the validity of the statement. They overwhelm with like just arguments, and they just go like, no, but well, I bet you think that the world's fucking not spinning through space. And then like, and it's like what Alex Jones. They should just have a fucking picture of Alex Jones there and put Gish Gallop.
That's
his
interesting.
technique.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
100%. That's what he does.
Let's break this up a little bit and have a little bit of a dance. Can you give me a shimmy? There we go. All right. Gonna use that to break up these little weird moments when I'm not sure exactly where to go. You know what? Actually, I thought about it. I did ask Gummi to make us some videos in case we want to all take like a communal pee break. So I do have those loaded up. In the event that we all say, hey, let's all just go pee. We have some commercials.
How did the idea of lizard people ruling the world start? Well, to begin with, for those unfamiliar with our lizard overlords...
So let's talk about where the ideas came from. All of that was the overview just to explain what the belief is. Now let's talk about where they came from. I felt this was very important to this story because it's fucking ridiculous.
Well, there are a variety of versions of this
I'll be right back,
conspiracy theory. The general notion
No problem.
is that a few different types of reptilian humanoids walk among us. Chief among these creatures are a type speculated to come from the Draco constellation, because apparently the lizard people knew their little corner of the galaxy would look vaguely like a serpent from Earth when connecting the dots during a certain part of Earth's history, and so went ahead and spent millions of years evolving appropriately on their home planet to match. The Draconians are apparently tall, winged, reptilian humanoids who not only secretly rule over humans, but more overtly rule over other types of lizard people as well. As for those others, the second most prominent group, widely held among adherents to this conspiracy, are the shape-shifting human-reptilian hybrids. Now,
See, I didn't know there were different types. That's all new to me.
Yeah.
That's all crazy. And I'm like, wait a minute. So then, like, I don't know. That in my mind just like reeks of human intervention toying with this. If no one can keep one solid storyline straight, but whatever.
naturally, thanks to the fact that the lizard people are secretly working to control humanity, many former and current prominent world leaders, such as the now allegedly deceased Queen Elizabeth II, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Donald Trump, along with celebrities like Angelina Jolie, the allegedly deceased Betty White. As to why said reptoids wish to rule the world, there are a variety of reasons given, with the most prominent two being that they are here for our gold, and alternatively, that they feed on negative energy from humans, particularly when they're afraid, angry,
Got him. We got him, Chops.
generally anxious.
Hold on.
You see, you guys knew your stuff. Yeah. But I still don't understand the gold one because they didn't take it. There's plenty of gold. There's plenty of humans have lots of gold.
Well, have you ever seen a whole bunch of bricks of gold at once?
Yes.
Oh, I have some racist jokes of my own, Luigi.
But but I've never seen a lizard shipping a shopping cart full of gold bricks either. I was trying to think of how to say it, but I think Corp filled in the gap there. I was going to be like, Chops, I'm Jewish.
X-Nate on the old gay.
Don't out me.
Yeah,
of course I have. I saw some this morning.
He woke up on it.
We have gold for dinner.
To create an Orwellian world government system in order to more easily manipulate our collective emotions for their own sustenance. This now brings us to who actually first came up with the modern...
Okay. Does anybody want to take a guess how the lizard reptile conspiracy started? Anybody?
Like, what's the theory or who popularized it?
How about we go with the modern interpretation of the lizard people conspiracy? Where did it start?
Bible.
Anunnaki, Bible. Oh, wait a minute. Are they? No, excuse me, not Anunnaki.
No, and I'm talking about like
Nephilim.
the shape-shifting reptilian here to eat our gold and eat babies or whatever.
Yeah, the Bible and the lizard who.
There's nothing about shape-shifting the reptilians in the Bible.
Giant reptilians.
All right, never mind. I don't think
I
I'm
meant like
asking
the
right
lizard.
question.
Are you guys familiar with Adam and Eve? The lizard that tricked, or the snake that tricked Eve into like he.
Well, that's a snake, not a lizard.
It's allegory.
But it wasn't a lizard. Okay, you know what? I'm asking the wrong questions. Let's move on.
Idea of these reptilian overlords in the first place. Well, as noted, sentient reptilians of some form or another have seemingly been
he a
around in
happy-looking
human legend
guy?
for as long as we've been humaning. One of
I wanna
the
pull his
earliest and most
beard.
influential references of lizard people in more modern times can be found in Robert E. Howard's 1929 story, The Shadow Kingdom, published
It comes from a science fiction book written in 1929.
in the pulp magazine Weird Tales. Not coincidentally, these beings are shockingly similar to the modern perception of lizard people. In a nutshell, the story involves ancient shape-shifting reptilian humanoids with elaborate underground abodes who work in the shadows to rule humanity, including via infiltrating various groups and using mind control to influence world politics.
Oh,
This
that
and
guy nailed it in the
subsequent works by
20s. That's fucking impressive.
Yes, exactly. It's from a science fiction. I'm sorry, it was not a book. A science fiction story in a magazine is where this all came from.
I thought it was a radio show. I thought it was a radio show. But yeah, I was gonna say science fiction. I just thought you meant the initial story where they got it. But yeah, no, science fiction definitely.
But then you talked about a snake.
That's what I thought you were talking about. Like
shape-shifting lizards who are here to eat our gold and influence politics.
I never read his story. yeah.
on to popularize some version of these lizard people, including in works by a close
Why has he
friend.
got his blender bottle in frame, just like right here? What is like?
It looks like his. It looks like his child niece's blender
Sponsorship.
bottle.
Sponsorship.
I'll admit it. It looked a little weird.
That's a G Fuel sponsorship. Twitch people know that one.
But here's what's interesting about here's what's interesting about this theory is that this seems to be simply the match that gets lit for lizard people. There's actually a big tank of gasoline later that it combines with. But this is all just giving a little bit of backstory on how it evolved into what we recognize it today.
Friend of his, H.P. Lovecraft. The concept caught on from here and has shown no signs of stopping in science fiction since. Noteworthy here, for reasons we'll get to in a bit, is one individual, Mystic Correspondence School founder Maurice Durrell, who would seemingly be inspired by Howard's lizard people when creating many written works for his followers, most notably the Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean. Except in Durrell's case, he would use these things.
So basically, a cult leader used the science fiction story as the basis for starting a cult.
Science fiction characters to create a supposed real history
Sounds
of Earth
right.
that incorporates reptoids.
Everything's
as
adding up.
Now, this is all, again, before David Icke is born.
Actual beings.
Allegedly.
Because, sure, why not? Fast forwarding to 1976,
Or
we have the
hatched.
12th planet.
Yes, hatched from an egg.
And subsequent similar works by Zechariah Sitchin, where he purports that beings known as the Anunnaki from the planet Nibiru came to Earth 500,000 years ago in order to acquire, to quote here, monoatomic gold.
Now, I want that term to stick in your head because I want to make this clear. That is not a real thing. That is a word salad of science fiction words that were made up. However, Mr. David Icke has specifically used this term as what the lizard people seek on planet Earth. Monoatomic gold.
Wait a minute. So how do we know they just didn't get all of it, and that's why we don't know about it?
Because they would have left and found it somewhere else. I don't know.
But what if they're on to number 2 now? That negative energy stuff he was talking about.
But this is not a real thing. It was a science fiction word for a story that they came up with the way that someone might invent kryptonite or unobtainium.
Now, here's what's really important when it comes down to people trying to be a cult leader of some sort. You have to use words that are long and they sound very complicated for people to be like, oh, He's smart. I'm
You
going to
are-
go with this guy.
You are correct, and I add to it, which is words that make you feel like you have been given access to a secret.
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah.
And that
Absolutely, dude. Yeah.
that you know something that someone else doesn't. I'm telling you, I would have been a great cult leader if I didn't have a conscience.
I think I can work on that with you. Yeah, I mean,
Let's do it.
Ex-corporate.
Yeah, we'll be good cult leaders.
I think we could. I think we could do it. But yes, monoatomic gold. I want to make it super clear. This is a science fiction word like kryptonite. However, David Icke I've seen him specifically talk to crowds of people and use it as a literal, realistic term upon which he bases the lizard people conspiracy as saying that it is what they seek on our planet. Again, science fiction.
Wasn't that also
Kryptonite.
Battlefield Earth where they wanted the gold?
Maybe, probably. I mean, it's just amazing. Like anybody could just say, "Oh, monoatomic gold. I've never heard of that. Where'd that word come from?" We have Google now. Questions can
AI
get
now.
answered if you just look it up. It's amazing.
Which they can use.
Google's run by the reptilian. Of course, they're not going to tell
Well,
you.
you got me there.
Good point, Gummy. Thank
one
you.
of them's Arab.
Dimensions and other things.
And the
Thankfully
rest
for us
Jews.
humans who were
Export
used
comment.
as slaves by the
rest of
Anunnaki,
them are Jews.
this group ended up hightailing it off
Shut up.
Earth because of the great flood that covered the planet. When the Anunnaki came back, they apparently were involved in the building of a variety of ancient structures, such as the pyramids. Noteworthy here is that Sitchin's Anunnaki weren't necessarily reptilian, but, as with Schufeld's story, would later be folded into the lizard people conspiracy theory anyway. And this finally brings us to the man of the hour, and arguably the greatest driving force behind the modern lizard people conspiracy theory, as well as perhaps the most successful professional conspiracy theorist of all time,
X-Corp.
David Vaughan Icke. Icke was a
fuck, I
former
thought it
popular
was-
sportscaster for the BBC and a prominent
I got some
Green
work to
Party
do.
member. His life changed, however, around 1990 when he started feeling some invisible presence which physically led him to a book called Mind to Mind, written by a psychic healer by the name of Betty
Now,
Shine.
does anybody know this part of the story of David Icke? Turns out it's cited in a lot of references, even Mr. Icke. He had to consult a psychic before developing the lizard people conspiracy theory. It came to him, admittedly, from a psychic.
Well, he was a
Oh
soccer
my
player
God.
before, so how would he have just came up with it? It came to him. That's what I was wondering. Like, did it come to him in a dream? I'm curious to know his story on it.
I mean, he's a lunatic, so I'm gonna just say that it was, some creativity, but he also admittedly says that he started hearing voices, he started thinking it was Jesus, and that drove him to go visit a psychic. And the psychic, well, let's hear it.
Soon enough, he sought out Shine to see if she could shed a little light on how he might heal his arthritis and what the deal was with the strange presence that he was encountering.
Now, I'm not a doctor. I only play one on TV. But I'm going to say I think that Mr. Icke suffers from schizophrenia.
After a few visits, Shine allegedly told him on March the 29th, 1990, that Icke was placed on Earth to work as the instrument of the spirit world, and they would be contacting him to use him as a conduit to help humanity.
Ooh, I'd like to combat that with narcissism.
but no.
Schizophrenia.
No, narcissism is, I'm sorry, schizophrenia is about 85% narcissism because you believe that the world has now focused on you as a target. It's full on narcissism. It is a
bro, I love
huge,
that.
it is
I
a
like that
huge
a lot.
factor of schizophrenia that you believe you are being thought about, talked about, targeted by several people because of the fact that you are so important. It is full on narcissism. It is an evolved form of narcissism. So this psychic just tells him, you know what, you're special, which is what psychics do because, they're evil and they're terrible people. And she said, yeah, I think that there's going to be like something really extraordinary. They're going to target you and you're going to really, I don't know. It was a fucking fortune cookie he got essentially from this lady. And he says, I got it. It was predicted that I am going to be the spokesperson for people. Let's go ahead and make them aliens. And I'm a fan of science fiction. Let's go with this story. So essentially, What's funny is that this could have been anything. He could have thought he was from Krypton and he was Superman. What are some other great science fiction stories? You know, he basically
they actually have this. Yeah, they have this documented. If you want to see a video clip of it, it's the opening scene in The Matrix where he sees the Oracle.
There you go.
It's literally the same bullshit.
Nice.
David Icke now I'm not joking. This is very true. After the movie The Matrix, he completely latched onto it and he writes books on the Matrix. I'm not kidding. He says we are living in the Matrix, and he specifically doesn't even hide the fact that he's glomming off of someone else's work and ideas and conspiracy. He specifically now writes books on saying that we are stuck in the Matrix.
It began with the lizard people able to like go in and out of our dimensions. It's almost like that Carl Sagan theory of like there being so many more dimensions at the same time that we're here.
I mean, but what's so funny is, I guess we haven't mentioned it in a while. CORNdiff, Gummi, we've said it so many times before that when you're going to be a grifter, you really got to step up your game to be convincing. And so many grifters just hit a wall of creativity and they just can't be creative on their own. Yep. And this, I feel like David Icke, when you really dig down deep in it, you realize David Icke had no original ideas. Somehow, he has gained a following. I can't deny his success and his following. He really is doing well, I guess, with his nonsense and bullshit. But I just can't believe that no one sees through it, that nothing he thought about was original.
Yeah, and when you start putting them in, like your show does a great job of like laying out the roadmap to what they're doing. Like this guy sounds exactly like the other guy who was who'd you have me on last guy? The guy who looked like he was gonna murder someone in the interview.
Yeah, be more specific.
The televangelist.
Televangelist.
Oh,
guy.
Kenneth Copeland.
It has like everyone resorts to this like evangelical like fucking speech where it's like they
I
have
speak
a chosen
for God.
person. Yeah, exactly. In a way where that's how you have to get people to follow. He's like a modern day Alex Jones, right?
And if you're gonna tell me Kenneth Copeland isn't a narcissist, you know, whatever. I mean, it's all the same story. It is. Every grifter has the same fucking story.
Dillman.
Yes.
How he fought somebody in some school that he did that, the whatever move and knocked him out. God, imagine those two in the room together. Like if they could have like merged like lizard people and like chi. Holy shit. Lizards shooting water from their hands, Luigi.
That might scare me.
Yeah.
It's all the same story. But I have to admit, we actually haven't even gotten to the weird part yet. There's going to be a weird part here that I found really fucking compelling. I kind of saved it for the last part of the origin story, but here we go.
Shortly after this, messages flooded in. In order to spare the Green Party the controversy he knew would follow when he revealed to the world what the spirit realm was telling him, in 1991, Icke decided to leave said political party. He then held a press conference alongside his wife, Linda Atherton, and his girlfriend, Deborah Shaw. Okay. Announcing to the world that he was, in fact,
fucking love this guy.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold that against him. I mean, apparently he was good friends with his ex-wife and had a girlfriend. You know what? Whatever.
That's a thing these days. You know what I mean?
It doesn't have any effect on lizard people. So what?
Godhead, with Godhead described by Icke as infinite mind. Among other things, he would make a variety of bold predictions, such as that the world would experience a cataclysmic event in 1997, which would see such things as New Zealand disappearing into the sea. This would all culminate in the entire world ceasing to exist. He further revealed that all of this was told to him by spirit voices who were using him as a conduit to communicate to the people of Earth. While it expected controversy from these revelations, apparently the reality of people not only not believing him, but actually mocking him quite openly across the country was too much at first for Icke. He stated, "One of my very greatest fears as a child was being ridiculed in public."
Got over that.
Yeah, no.
That should be what he talks about. That's a big...
Yeah, that's a weird one.
I know people make fun of me. By the way, lizard people.
And I'm Jesus.
Right, straight up.
Yeah.
I got
And then-
one for you guys. I don't know if you've covered it before. I just wrote it down. I heard him say it. Have you guys ever done anything on doomsday predictors? Those people drive me nuts.
Okay, I'll say this. I got one on my radar that's my favorite one. There'll probably be others, but there is one on my radar that is my absolute favorite. And when we get to it, you'll know why it's my favorite, because it's pretty hilarious.
Hey, you know what I just thought about?
What's that?
When they were saying like lizard people have like, you know, the low blood pressure and whatever, wouldn't like low body temperature be one? Like, oh, this guy's got like, you know, fucking 40-degree temperature. He's a lizard person.
That would make more sense because of...
I'm talking freedom numbers, X-Corp, by the way. You know, 40
that would make more sense.
Anyone else in the world doesn't get it, but
yeah, because they're all wrong.
Because of lizards being cold-blooded animals, but
right.
But no, that's not what he went with.
Like,
I'm gonna skip ahead just a little bit here.
Dip their heads underwater, see if they can breathe. If they don't, if the bubble stops,
there you go.
Didn't they do that with like witches? They just threw them in the water. If they sank, like, oh no, she wasn't a witch.
They burned them. They burned them. They're like, you have a spell to.
If she lives, she's a witch. If she dies, oops.
Yeah, that was something they did with water. Actually, that they would literally like tie them to a chair and throw the chair like in a lake. And if she sank, oh, it's okay. She was human. She wasn't a witch after all.
Yeah,
we need to bring that back.
Is that?
You know what I mean? Bring this back.
For
like, hey, David,
mouthy women.
You got this, right? No, just even the people that like claim all their shit. It's like, all right, there's one easy way to test this, Houdini. Let's pop this shit on your ankles and go to sea.
Hey, folks in the chat, I just realized I don't think I realized this. My volume was all the way up. I hope I'm not too loud. Will y'all let me know if I'm okay? I just heard the live chat and it did sound a little bit loud, but I
thought you were screaming at me because you had a problem with me. I was like, dude, I get it. I'm brown. Stop it.
Because you're Arab. Yeah. I just realized my volume is like at 100. Shit, I did not mean to do that.
Didn't sound crazy at all.
Okay.
I love that everybody considers you the Arabic one, but I'm the Arabic one.
Dude,
and you're
that's the best. That's what I was saying earlier. There's different types of browns, you racist. Like, we're...
X-Corp, I expect your next mic check to be.
I said Allahu Akbar earlier. I was expecting to hear him.
Sadly, that was a little closer, but like not like actually you dick. You know what I mean? Like raised Catholic.
All right, so I'm just gonna skip all the way ahead to the next subject, which I believe is the most fascinating of the subjects on the origin of lizard people. But before that, I'm going to play a commercial that was made by Gummi to allow us all a little pee break because I got to pee real bad. But this is about 2.5 minutes. Please enjoy, folks. Be right back.
おっとり心臓でざんすねしかも娘子
男のマガジン宝島
Breakfast. I'm hungry. Take it from Karinkles. That's me. The best breakfast under the big top is post-sugar rice Karinkles. So crinkly, so delicious, so different. Each grain of rice in sugar rice Karinkles is crinkled with honey and sugar. It's so good, I crinkle every time I eat it. Yep, no matter what other rice cereal you've ever tried, you'll love post-sugar rice Karinkles best of all. Honey and sugar make it different and wonderful. A circus of fun to eat. So you crinkle on down to the store for post-sugar rice Karinkles, the greatest cereal treat on earth.
Brought to you by the Jolly Green Giant, your best friend in peas and corn.
Oh, hi, here's the Jolly Green Giant. You see on the label with golden corn and tender peas. The Jolly Green Giant will set up your table with golden corn and tender peas. The Jolly Green Giant is here. The Jolly Green Giant is here.
Can you keep a secret? Then listen to Mattel's new baby secret. She whispers just to you, and her lips really move when she talks. It's almost unbelievable.
I want to tell you something.
Baby Secret tells lots of secrets, so you never know what she'll say next.
Hold me close and we'll
And she looks so real, the way her lips move like yours. She can even pose the way you want. Get Mattel's soft and wonderful new baby secret, so you can have fun keeping secrets together. What kind? If we told, they wouldn't be secrets anymore.
And we're back.
Woo! That'd have been a different commercial with Bill Cosby.
There's still time.
Those are all real commercials.
Yes, I love those. Gummi put together some of the creepiest real commercials. I'm a big fan of another one we got lined up, but if we have to take another pee break.
What's fucked up is the first one. Whoever got to watch it, the Japanese one with the woman with the long neck. She's based on an oni, on a demon. That's when women talk too much in Japan, they turn into those demons. Well, for being a mouthy Dane, you turn into that. But that commercial was for like a magazine, like Maxim, like a gentleman's magazine. Ooh. The connection, I don't know. But
Jesus,
yeah.
it was weird. It was weird and squishy.
Yeah.
Draw your own conclusions.
Yeah.
Is that the one with the long neck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
What's
for men's magazine. That was a commercial
like
for that.
It's got to be like a deep throat thing.
Yeah. And like and the whispering baby, if you watch the commercial again, the creepiest thing, she goes, I like to tell secrets in the dark.
Dude, that one got me.
Yeah, that
shit was nuts.
Yeah.
It's kind of hot though.
Yeah, the only edits I did was just put us in the commercials. Other than that, those are full, legit, real commercials.
If the squishy Japanese lady told me she liked to tell secrets.
Squishy Japanese lady.
You know what I mean?
Shout out to squishy Japanese lady.
Squishy Japanese lady. All right. So next up, we're going to be talking about the contribution to the lizard people conspiracy theory from a guy named George Warren Shufeld. Now, let me ask, has anyone ever heard of George Warren Shufeld?
The first 7 episodes we did were about him.
CORNdiff's never forgiven me. I actually was thinking about doing a brief return to Warren content.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you my idea. I think you're gonna like it. Anyway, all right. So George Warren Shufelt. You know what? I was gonna give a little bit of an overview, but I'm not, because this story is fucking fascinating.
Going in raw.
I was so shocked to hear this. I have never heard this story before, but I loved it. Here we go, folks. Buckle up.
The idea of reptilians is relatively young. It appears that we only need to go back a little under 100 years to see its origins. This specific origin story is often mentioned in various pieces of reptilian media. As the story goes, on January 29, 1934, the Los Angeles Times newspaper reported that an engineer by the name of George Warren Shufelt had conducted a mining survey beneath the city of LA, specifically under Fort Moore Hill.
Okay, now, I realize we're watching this, but I do just want to make sure we're on the same page. This guy was employed to do a mining survey in Los Angeles. Okay?
Okay.
We're all on the same page here.
Yes, sir.
All right. Here we go.
Shufelt claimed to have discovered, with the help of a so-called radio X-ray machine, a complex labyrinth of underground tunnels and catacombs.
I was trying so hard to not bring this up when you asked about the Jewish tunnels earlier. I think somebody was making some connections here. When you were talking about that, I was like, are you fucking with me? Like, are you trying to wait, what? And then I realized you were just asking about the Jewish tunnels. But
just wanted an update.
Yeah, this is really fascinating. Jewish tunnels in LA. Not really Jewish, but still Listen to this story.
His X-ray pictures revealed rooms of solid gold and massive subterranean passages going as deep as 100 feet below the surface. And according to him, this intricate network formed the shape of a lizard. After consulting with a Hopi Indian by the name of Little Chief Greenleaf, Schufelt concluded that
Little Chief Greenberg, new shirt. Has anybody ever heard this story before?
This is all new to me. Yeah.
Okay. Listen up. Listen to where this goes.
Saying something for
the tunnels
right.
were in fact something out of an old Hopi legend, the remains of a vast underground city built 5,000 years ago, not by humans, but by the lizard people.
Nice.
According to Chief Greenleaf, there were once 3 such cities along the...
Okay, so again, just a quick recap, because that was a lot of info, and I want to just bring everyone up to speed on this, on how fucking insane this is. A guy finds what he claims to be a giant network of gold tunnels under Los Angeles, California, in the shape of a lizard that were occupied by lizards.
And you're saying we're not sure they're Jewish.
And apparently got confirmation of this group of tunnels from a Hopi Indian named Lil Chief Greenwaddle.
What in the world?
I don't know.
Oh, Greenberg.
Greenleaf. Yes. Green whatnot. Okay. All right. We're still on board, right?
Everything sounds legit so far. I don't know.
Yep.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, here we go.
The Pacific coast of North America, constructed in order to escape some kind of great fiery cataclysm.
Nice.
1,000 families of these lizard people dwelled beneath the earth, keeping records on gold tablets. This ancient race was also incredibly intelligent. The intellectual accomplishments of their 9-year-old children were equal with those of present-day college graduates.
I'm sorry, Luigi.
Go on.
Can you put up Rumpel Trenchcoat's chat? We built this city. That's a good one. It's
we built this city on lizard bones. Good one.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I like
Solid.
that. All right. So here we go. The intellectual complements of these lizard people who lived under Los Angeles, California, of the 9-year-old children were equal with those of present day college graduates.
Oh, so they're Asian.
I was about to say, I think that's where Tupac went, but then, nah, probably not.
All right. So here we go. Underground tunnels, lizards, gold. Draw your own conclusions.
We are told that all of Schufeld's attempts to excavate this forgotten city beneath the city were unsuccessful, to say the least. We will talk about this more in depth later, but according to most retellings, funding on his project dried up, and his findings never saw the light of day. The ruins of the lizard people and their dozens of gold treasures are allegedly still down there in the dark, just beneath the bustling streets and sidewalks of America's second largest city.
Right there.
From Schufeld's original discovery, we see the emergence of several similar conspiracies.
What are you saying?
They're just like, it's just right underneath.
Yeah. It's right there.
It's like if you just looked, just like right there, though. It's like so
now, I also want to point out that it's Los Angeles. Now, do you remember earlier in this conversation, without any prompting,
Jewish people.
Without any prompting of this concept, Court brought up specifically that there is an underground network of the elites.
Well, you're very, very, very putting some words in my mouth. I
thought you said that.
Missing persons thing ended up matching along with the tunnel system. And then I did see Chris Mack fixing what I meant to say, which was a cave system. I don't know if the caves all connect.
Okay, all right. Maybe I am, because I have heard that it is, in fact, a designated group in LA specifically for elite people who have permission to enter them can enter them. All right. I might have been filling that in, but that's what I thought you were referring to.
No, that'd be dope. I'm on board with that.
So this is the birth of that concept. Where did I hear... I've heard actually two versions of it. I've heard that there are underground tunnels for the elites, and that there are actually underground highways that people that have to pay like charges for driving. Both nonsense. I'm not saying that any of this is true. Complete nonsense and ridiculous bullshit. But we're seeing the birth of this, and specifically talking about LA, the land of movie stars, swimming pools, movie stars.
There is a tunnel that goes
Black
out of LA, though.
gold.
Soon after, in the 1940s, occultist and writer Maurice Doreal wrote a little-known pamphlet entitled Mysteries of the Gobi, where he describes a serpent race with bodies like man, but heads like a great snake. These snake men had the ability to take human form. In an unspecified prehistoric era, they engaged in a violent war with humans and were driven to near extinction. Where Doreal got this information is anyone's guess. In the 1990s, Doreal's writings would later influence conspiracy theorist David Icke. Icke's writings are a whole nother story, but essentially just expanded on these original concepts, that a race of ancient lizard-like creatures from another star live underground in bases throughout the world, and have disguised themselves as influential humans. Mainly...
So, again...
What's with that picture?
I don't even know where they got that. So again,
Looks
not
like
a
Chinese
single...
propaganda.
Yeah, not a single original idea from David Icke. But he's the one who capitalized on this and actually got a following. So,
well,
I guess.
Isn't that common? Like, the guy that shouts the loudest is the one that gets noticed.
But yes, but what I find fascinating is that in the age of information that no one questions it. That's what I find fascinating. When he finds such a like-minded group that just listens without question. That's what I find fascinating.
I want to separate it could be again, I'll just like people today with our internet, our access, they're not going to latch on as much as people did literally like 20 years ago, somewhere around there. For some odd reason, we had information, but it was not as easy to get to. Like things just in our world, our brain was just so different. We weren't really asking questions. I guess I don't know.
We were looking for belief a lot back then, and now we want to see belief with the information.
That's fair, I guess. Yeah. So if there's like a demographic of people who are weary of technology, yeah, okay, all right, that makes sense. But I guess that just in a world where we have Google, in a world where we have downloadable books and so much information at our fingertips, when a guy comes along and just says, I'm the blessed one who's going to tell you these concepts, despite the fact that they've actually already preceded me in science fiction books, and I'm going to take all the credit. I don't get it.
There's no way. You hear people disproving me. That's the lizard people. By the way, that's all the information you are looking up that shows provable facts that I'm wrong. That's what they want you to think.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like literally that is messages that people talk about.
That's not that crazy. That's not that crazy. And it's
and
like,
Ike. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was going to say like Frank Duke. Oh, sorry. Well, like Frank Dukes constantly talked about how he was in the CIA, and people literally called him out and said, "CIA denies that you were ever in the CIA," and he goes, "Of course they would."
That's what they want you to think.
That's exactly the same thing. Anyway, what were you going to say, Chops? I'm sorry.
Now Ike can't be as popular or get a crowd like he used to, right?
No, he is.
He's still going, man.
Really?
He absolutely is still going.
So here's what's hilarious. When you trace this stuff back and you find out where he got his stuff, a lot of people quote David Icke now. So they're like, well, as David Icke states in his third book. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, wait up.
That is exactly my point. That is is that he is taking credit for these ideas and saying that he is the spokesperson for, this movement. He hasn't thought of anything himself. It's all borrowed. It's all stolen. Not borrowed, stolen. It is all stolen. It's just crazy. But this story gets weirder. What were you say, Gummi?
Hey, Luigi. So I just got a message from my lady. She just sent me a message about another influence that David Icke had.
Oh.
And it says, there's an episode of Doctor Who from the 70s. There's a race called the Solarians who are lizard people that occupied the Earth way before humans. When the moon came to orbit of the Earth, they thought their world was ending and hibernated underground in tunnels.
That's funny, and that sounds exactly like this. But there's actually even another one that there's a movie he stole a lot of this stuff from, or a mini series. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but let's finish this.
Royal bloodlines in wealthy dynasties, the Bush family, the British royal family, and the Rothschilds, etc. These creatures secretly feasted on human flesh or had some other malicious purpose in mind for us. Icke's influence took these relatively unknown ideas to the mainstream,
that's not
and as a result, the conspiracy of reptilians or reptoids took on a new life and resonated particularly well among right-wing conspiracy theorists. It is claimed that humans for thousands of years have been encountering these beings, and evidence of these interactions have been preserved in the artwork and stories of ancient humans. In the wake of this surge, believers searched the past for corroborating evidence. Ancient Aliens featured several of these in their episode, and I will give a brief overview of them before we take a closer look.
Luigi.
Yeah, just this morning, Gummi sent me some Ancient Alien stuff, which, I mean, God, that show, I can't even tell if they're trying to be serious. It's so goofy. But this goes to a little bit about what, I'm not sure who mentioned it earlier, about I think it might have been you, Corp, who was just saying that, you know, you're going to make the story fit however you want it to fit based on what you know. And so if there was art, you know, that showed something with a lizard head, you suddenly make that connection, and now it enforces your belief, even though you don't necessarily know what that connection is, but it makes you think that somehow what you believe is right.
Yeah, confirmation bias, absolutely, man.
It is essentially is confirmation bias, but it's also, I feel like it's a little bit different than confirmation bias, and it's you making a spider web of connections that are just simply leading to your confirmation, if that makes any sense. Like you're using this, you see something that vaguely resembles your belief, and you simply cite to it as evidence of your belief. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. You put a bunch of dots on the page. I draw an animal and be like, see, it was here the whole time. But it's like my understanding of it. And it also like puts it in the realm of like questioning yourself. Like it's like, the lizard, why is it on these ancient tombs? Why is it on every single one of the World Health Organization? Why is it on the, and like, you know what I mean? So it gets you to this like fucking.
But despite the context of it, it still supports your belief. So yes, there were lizard people, but that actually meant something. It actually had a very specific interpretation in ancient times, depending on the culture. It didn't necessarily mean that there were human people with lizard heads walking around. It was usually a representation of a deity or a representation of something else. Like it had an interpretation, but without someone knowing that, they're going to make the pieces fit how they want them to fit.
And if you took out lizard people, you could say this about religion. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yes, 100%. It's all the same. Yeah. It all comes from the same book of bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
Luigi, I got another shirt idea.
Oh, yes.
It's the Ancient Aliens meme where the guy's saying like aliens, but it's him and it's just aliens. Jews.
And he looks like Corp.
Oh, I gotta watch it. I was just defending myself being around, and now I'm coming off as anti-Semitic. Shout out to the Jews, big fans. Big fans.
I'm saying you're the Arab one, so it'd be the Arab guy saying, Jews. Or Jews. However they do it.
Chops is the Arab one. God damn it.
No. I don't believe that, because chops, pork chop, can't be.
See? Yeah.
See?
CORNdiff made his designations already. I follow
the AI
the lead he makes.
AI has chosen.
Shit. Well, shit.
Yeah, fucked it up.
Unknown ideas to the mainstream.
Pretty cool.
And as a result, the conspiracy of the reptilians or reptoids.
What?
Just because it reminded me of for the one thing that David Icke would say, and that you hear them say if they get called out on one of their bullshit. It's like, hey, you got this from a movie. It's like, yeah, it's in the movies, hidden in plain sight.
Yep.
That's what they want you to see.
All right, Corp, you have no idea how accurate you are, because we actually talked a little bit about this behind the scenes. I found a video of David Icke seriously for 40 minutes explaining that the Rowdy Roddy Piper movie They Live is based in reality.
That is a fucking documentary. Yeah.
Yes. And I was like, we have to watch this. Donna G, thank you for the 1999. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great weekend, boys. Let's see. What do we think Donna G would like to see for her 1999?
Something special.
Something special. I agree.
How about
Corp. Thank you very much, Donna G. Hope you're enjoying this.
Took on a new life and resonant in women encountered by our early mythological stories and religious
up the time a little bit. Here
humanoids
you go.
with thin and elongated bodies, coffee bean-shaped eyes, and pinched noses that give their faces an overall reptilian-like appearance.
Oh, yes, you do.
Does she?
Yes, she does. Hold on. Yeah. Hold on 1 second here.
All that beautiful bean footage.
Hell yeah.
Oh, we need that for corn. Roll that beautiful corn footage.
Roll that beautiful.
Yes, there you go, Donna G. That is what 1999 gets you. Thank you so much, Donna G. And I also kept all of the comments that these ruffians were making behind the scenes quiet. The word flaccid got thrown around a lot. And then, there it goes. Now it's hard. This is what they said.
I thought you said you were keeping that private.
I kept your comments private. I'm saying
You
it now.
promised us.
No, when I play those, it mutes all of you guys. Anyway,
Fantastic.
Okay.
Gentlemen, I did not just put this on for attention. This is a very real outfit that I'm about to leave my house in. It's Calgary Stampede cowboy cosplay, and I do have to run. I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, thanks.
Well,
for coming
yeehaw.
I guess it's better than a turban. Hey, Corp, please plug whatever you like. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
As racist as that was actually closer than Arab. You understand? You're getting warm. But really appreciate this. Was fucking one of my favorite shows ever. This shit
Hey, man,
I love because it's like it is ridiculous.
Yes.
But there's like I don't know, man. Like there's I could literally talk about this for another 3 hours. Counterculture arguments, like David Icke being a plant by the government.
So much.
That's a good one. I'm not kidding you, Corp. I have something in mind that I'm gonna need you here for. Well, we might have somebody else, but there's one. If you don't already know the story, I'm gonna ask you not to look it up. So let me ask you this: do you know the name Jack Parsons? You ever heard the name?
Like from Jack
Parsons. All right. No.
Yeah, no.
If you don't, okay.
I don't look anything up. You're good with me on that. I'm oblivious to
I'm
everything.
going to ask you not to look it up, but I'm going to have you back in a couple weeks because I think I'm going to blow your fucking mind when I tell you the story.
He's told me this a few times. Like he's that excited about.
I
getting
like
you on for this
it's going to be so much fun telling you this story. You're not going to believe it, and I'm going to ask you not to look it up because it is a crazy, crazy fucking story. But man, it's going to be fun to tell you about it.
I'm expecting he found your real parents.
Yeah, like for a conspiracy theorist to not know this story because it's kind of hidden, but it's going to lead into something pretty great. Anyway, we'll talk about it. But I really think it's going to it might even change your worldview about something when you hear about it. Anyway,
there are not a lot of things that do that since David Icke, my biggest influence on this planet.
Enjoy your Calgary Stampede. I appreciate it, sir.
They do.
Have fun, man.
Appreciate you, gentlemen.
Have a great
watching
night
in the car. See ya, buds.
Talk to you soon.
Assalamu alaikum.
Shit. L'chaim.
All right, that was Corp. Glad to have him.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. Somebody knows. There you go. Hulkamania. The Jack Parsons story is wild. It is insane, but it's going to lead into another story. And it's anyway, folks, thank you for being here. Please like and subscribe. We've got a lot of really crazy fun content for our next few episodes. And I'm going to go ahead and make the announcement now. I've been holding this one a secret because I was a little afraid it wasn't going to go through. Next Friday, Carl Hamburger is going to be on the show.
Oh, shut
Hamburger.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Hamburger, very gladly or very politely offered to be on the show. I actually didn't want to bother him, but I was having a conversation and he said, "Hey, you want me to do your show?" And I was like, I am so tiny and little and insignificant, I was never even going to ask you. And he was like, "No, I'd love to." And he was super nice about it.
That's awesome.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. And so big shout out to Carl Hamburger. Looking forward to that one. We will be talking about... Anybody got a drum roll? We will be talking about Bob Lazar. Looking forward to that one. That one's going to be fun. Anyway, all right. Let's get back to these Persian lizards.
Ancient Aliens posits that they are too realistic to depict mythological or fantasy creatures, and are in fact based on the real deal. Living, breathing lizard men and women encountered by our early ancestors. In addition to these theories, reptilian proponents use a wide variety.
Okay. This is a small intro to the Jack Parsons story. Very small, because the story is going to go some wild places you're never going to believe. But yes, truth has it. Jack, is that a profile pic from this show?
Holy shit, already.
Nice.
Wow. Yes, Jack Parsons, Sex Magic, Crowley.
Oh my God, Aleister Crowley. Have me on if you guys ever do that one.
That's what we're talking. This is the one I was saying that I wanted Corp back on for. So yes.
Oh shit.
You'll be back on. So this is the story. Now here's where it gets weird. NASA.
Not the sex magic part. NASA is the weird part.
Yes. Yes. I'm not kidding. And I think this one's going to be really fun for Corp, because if he thinks NASA is already weird, wait till he hears this story.
Space magic occults. Hell yeah, he's in.
Yep. And it's one of my favorite stories, and it's actually going to lead into something even crazier. You believe that? But yes, it's been one I've been wanting to get to, but it's going to be like a multi-episode thing. So we'll have you guys on for the beginning of that one. If not the whole thing, stick around. Anyway, all right. So yes, that's going to be a crazy, crazy, nutty one, and I'm going to have fun with that one. Yes, here we go.
Variation of mythological stories and religious texts from cultures around the world to suggest they are all talking about the same thing. Several cultures mention reptile gods or powerful snake-like beings, As we mentioned before, Shufelt believed that the Hopi tribe of North America had one such story. Ancient Aliens primarily focuses on the Hebrew Bible. They claim that the Bible references the existence of a serpent race called the Sephirim. According to them, the snake or Nahash in the Garden of Eden was
exactly what you guys mentioned earlier. That this is really kind of where it starts in our minds in the Bible, and then we just kind of took it and run with it.
was just one of a race, and was completely humanoid prior to God punishing it for tempting Eve in the garden. South Asian mythology mentions the Nagas. Ancient Aliens defines them as a semi-divine race of serpent people, with the Well of Sashana serving as the...
What are you laughing at?
There you go. That's what I was waiting for.
I was surprised it took that long. I was like, somebody's going to do it, right?
Corn doing the Lord's work right there. I
Yes.
swear, one button at a time.
entrance to the underground city of the Nagas, named Patala. The jinn in Islam and the feathered serpent gods of Mesoamerica are also viewed as lizard men, too. I could go on, but...
According to legend, Alexander the Great was sired by a dragon.
all of this is to say that according to these conspiracy theorists, many different regions around the world share unmistakable similarities that lend credence to the idea that humans have been interacting with a race of advanced subterranean reptile humanoids pretty regularly throughout history, from at least the Neolithic until relatively recent times, Hellenistic periods, and so on. Now, this is a lot to unpack. At its surface, I'm so sorry, I know I really need to stop doing puns. The evidence for the reptilian conspiracy may seem a tad bit compelling, but this is only because of the way books and TV shows like Ancient Aliens have phrased and presented these examples. In reality, the reptilian conspiracy is built on nothing more than blatant lies and misinformation. Let's break it down. Let's start with that lost city of the lizard people Warren G. Shufelt claimed to have discovered under Los Angeles, as this story seemingly jump-started the whole conspiracy in the first place. The account as told in the original LA Times newspaper, and how many have since retold it, is misleading, if not entirely wrong, as it leaves out many crucial details. For example, you might be asking, if these catacombs exist, why are there no pictures taken of them or of the supposed gold tablets? Well, it's because the whole story is itself a bunch of bunk. All the claims of Shufelt told to the press were completely unsubstantiated, as he never presented it.
What's up, my nagas?
Any kind of physical proof to back himself up. Not a single tablet or engraved stone, not even pictures taken inside the tunnels. The radio X-ray device Shufelt claimed to have used to find the site in the first place was nothing more than a glorified dowsing rod when looked at closer, as it had nothing to do with either radio waves or X-rays. As many of you might have guessed, George Warren Shufelt was not the most trustworthy of individuals. If one looks back at the records, he had a long history of pulling publicity stunts just like this. According to the newspaper records, would-be treasure seeker...
So, this guy was a would-be treasure seeker con man. And that's where all of this lizard gold underground tunnel nonsense started. A con man.
Makes sense.
once he is even disproven and that it's exposed that he's a con man, that doesn't even stop David Icke from second guessing spreading this nonsense. So what's worse? The con man or the guy who knows or the guy who steals the con man's con? You know?
Well, he saw the con working, and he knew that there was so many years that I guess people weren't paying attention anymore, and he just brings it up into new light.
I guess, but I would argue that it didn't work because he got exposed so quickly.
Nah, you know whose fault it is? The people that kept booking David Icke to talk and buying his books. It's their fault. You know what I'm saying? Like if no one, no one bought his shit figuratively and literally, you know, he wouldn't be around. So, you know, after a while, it's not the hustler's fault anymore. It's the hustler's fault.
I can't disagree with that, but I guess I just still find it fascinating that something so stupid and so ridiculous, has followers. That's the hard part for me to believe.
Just finding meaning. I that's really what it just comes down to. People just looking for meaning. Now here's the thing. I don't know how they stick with that one. I know I did. I don't know how, but it's there, you know. And if you don't, I mean, I got to the point where I started asking questions and I started digging. And I was like, I don't know about this, so I just put that way off to the side.
Yeah, it's just so weird. It's so odd.
I'm also one of those assholes who feed into it, not because I believe it, but if I saw like a notice, like if like the theater in my hometown was like, oh, we're gonna have a lizard people guy, I'm paying, I'm going. Like, it's just a laugh. So, so I'm funding this asshole too. You know, my own way.
And it's I feel like some part of me also feels a little hypocritical because I'm like, look, I'm so I guess what's the word I'm looking for? I'm so drawn to the absurd of life. Yeah, I'd want to see this too, just because it'd be fun to watch someone say something stupid.
Yeah.
But the fact that 4% of people polled in that 2013 poll specifically did say, yes, lizard people run the world. That's still just crazy. That's too big of a number.
Those are the people who voted for Harambe in 2020.
Yes.
Have been looking for gold beneath LA's Fort Moore Hill ever since the late 1890s. Long before Shufelt even started, all of them turned up empty. A couple decades later, on March 4th, 1933, a very familiar name appears in an edition of the LA Times, almost an entire year before that very same newspaper would run the lizard people story. Wait a minute. Our old friend Shufelt and a group of men had decided to pick up where the 1890s gold hunters left off, and began excavating Fort Moore Hill. Oh, not for reptilian gold, but conquistador gold.
So what we learn is that this wasn't even the first gold con this guy came up with. That's where it gets weird also, where I say that, you know, what's worse, the con or the guy who steals the con? It's the third iteration of the con. This guy tried one con, didn't work. So he tried something else and couldn't get enough attention. But this is where this comes from. It's crazy.
I'd never give up.
Yes.
According to him, in his possession was an ancient sheepskin map, indicating that Spanish treasure had been buried under the hill over 100 years ago.
I also don't find this to be very different than the entire concept of Mormonism.
Hundreds of gold doubloons were just waiting to be dug up.
Call.
In this version of events,
I
we
just
get
got
no
tickled
mention of the
remembering
fabled lizard people.
that when I look down at the picture of the cat here, and it looks like these black lizards, these black dinosaurs are gonna fuck that cat so hard.
You just noticed that?
You just noticed that?
No, I noticed it earlier, but I was just kind of looking at it, and then I realized, I took a step back and realized what I was looking at, and I was like, this is as stupid as shit. This is stupid as shit.
This is where it got stupid for CORNdiff. You know what? I realize we've been here over 2 hours. We have still not even gotten halfway through this video package that I put together. We're going to get through this little segment here and call it a night. We'll pick it up some other time.
People. Warren Schufelt's adventures are subsequently detailed pretty extensively in the LA Times that year from March to April. His team repeatedly petitioned the LA Board of Supervisors for extensions and funding on their project, with the intent of splitting the treasure with the city once it was discovered. They would consistently claim they were just about to unearth their goal, if only they had a little more time. By September of 1933,
really funny about
however,
that is like how he said he wants to split the money with the city. Like the city would take their half and then tax his half.
Oh yeah.
So they get like 70%.
Shufelt and all but one of his original team officially gave up the search. It's not that the project ran out of money, it's that it just found nothing, and the LA Board of Supervisors had begun to suspect that they were being duped. Even at the time, few believed the claims of Shufelt and his accomplices. One article claims that they were heckled by streetgoers as they worked. As the months wore on, everybody seemed to have realized that the story was just a bunch of hot air. Reporter Ed Ainsworth mockingly wrote, "Isn't it funny how early Spaniards seemed to do nothing but trapeze around the country with jackloads of gold bullion? They never apparently wanted to spend their gold." It was yet another version of the typical dying prospector story, one that many at the time had not only heard, but had been fooled by before. We should not forget that the backdrop for this whole incident was the height of the Great Depression in the United States. Thousands of employed men across the country were in dire need of...
Now, I find that to be the most interesting part of this story. And let me tell you why, is because it goes exactly... I mean, it is a cookie cutter template for everything that we talk about people who are susceptible to believing stupid things. We're talking desperate people in desperate times being fed hope. Hope that they could find money in the Great Depression and that there's a way to take a shortcut to get it. That is essentially how every stupid belief system gets bought, sold. Everybody who pays a televangelist money is trying to find some hope in a desperate time. And this was just a time in the world that was just ripe for the picking. Everyone's poor. Everyone's suffering from the Great Depression. Guess what? I have the answer. Free gold. Turns out it was a con. And like every other fucking con man and grifter, got exposed and was trying to take advantage of uneducated, desperate people. And then David Icke steps up and says, wait a minute, hold my beer. And
hold my gold.
Moves on and is like, nope, there's still got to be some desperate, stupid people out there who will believe this nonsense.
When I see the free soup with the black and white, makes me think of the Three Stooges when it was just like boiling water with a boot in it.
with the dry ice in it.
Yeah, yeah.
So yes, again, same template, same story, same con, same load of bullshit.
Work and a wage. The idea of uncovering a secret cache of Spanish gold to bring people from rags to riches was a tempting prospect. In fact, much of the digging was done by hand, as a public works project to provide jobs for the city of LA during the Depression. The story helped motivate people, even if it was all for naught in the end. Seriously, blame the Great Depression for giving us reptilians. The whole thing would have lapsed into obscurity, if not for Schufeldt's infamous reappearance in the LA Times in January 1934, in the article that we read before. Yes, Schufeldt, after abandoning his project as a failure, for some reason decided to return to the press for a second time, with a familiar but tweaked version of his original tale. In this new version, there was no mention of a sheepskin map or Spanish conquistadors. Instead, Schufeldt claims that all along he was searching for an ancient city belonging to the race of lizard people. This is also where we first hear about the character of Little Chief Greenleaf and the Hopi legend.
So basically, the first con wasn't ridiculous enough, and it failed. So he has to up the ante, and he comes up with a whole new story to outdo the first failure.
Yeah. Like, what's
Yeah, go ahead.
crazy is like, you think like normal logic would be like the ridiculous one would be the fake one, and then like, oh, let me get more realistic to get people. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like he's going like in reverse order.
Exactly. But yeah, doubles down. He's like, wow, Spanish pirate gold. All right. We didn't get a lot of bites. What's something crazy we could do? Science fiction. Lizard people living underneath LA.
So here's the thing. Why change the story so drastically and suddenly? Well, as it turns out, it appears Schufeldt made it all up. And I mean everything. Let's start with his source, Little Chief Greenleaf. In reality, there is no record of such a person ever existing, according to the birth and death certificate databases of the Hopi Reservation. Now, this doesn't rule out his existence entirely, but I find it rather suspicious that the only reference I can find to this person ever existing is this single newspaper article. Wait a second, I feel like I've been in this situation before. I suspect that Schufeldt might have created Greenleaf out of whole cloth, fabricating an Indian persona for himself to use as a puppet, and in doing so lend credibility to his story. Likewise, the supposed Hopi legend of the lizard people living underground doesn't appear to exist either. Skeptic Brian Dunning, after consulting tribal writings and ethnographic accounts, was completely unable to find any basis for the story in actual Hopi mythology. In fact, the Hopi don't even live in California. Schufeldt might have actually meant the Zuni tribe, not the Hopi.
The guy didn't even get his references right. I kept all this in just because I thought it was going to... They did a good job of literally going point by point, exposing every single part of this as being nonsense, but I'm realizing it's getting boring.
Was familiar with these stories. He used elements of both.
He
in his
used
claims
elements of
about the
Lovecraft.
lost metropolis beneath LA. If I were to guess, Schufelt saw that he had taken the old Spanish.
And then it turns out that X-ray machine he talked about was just some metal he welded together. It had nothing to do with anything. It was all a con. All of it. Every single bit of it was a con.
Hey, Luigi.
Yo.
Sorry to interrupt, bro. You're
No.
echoing a little bit.
Am I?
Yeah.
Not on my side.
I heard it a little bit. I heard it a little bit earlier, then it kind of went away for a little bit.
How about now?
Say something. Say like a sentence.
Penis.
Penis.
You're good. Yeah, I don't hear it now.
Okay. So all that, because I wanted to just lead up to this one little line here that he says at the end. Ah, shit.
He was familiar with these stories. He
Penis.
used elements of both in his claims about the lost metropolis beneath LA. If I were to guess, Schufelt saw that he had taken the old Spanish gold story as far as it could. After failing to produce results the first time, he needed additional funding and a new audience. Using a combination of Zuni myths and science fiction stories he had read about, he produced a fresh new tale to grab people's attention and get his treasure hunting business back on track. It doesn't appear like it worked for him, as I found little of note about Schufelt following 1934. He died in 1957, aged 71. His grave is apparently still in Valhalla Memorial Park in North Hollywood, if anyone wants to check. As...
Oh, shit.
David Icke.
He's
I was trying
In 1949, the Broadway Tunnel was demolished to make way for the new Hollywood Freeway. Both projects were extensive, but failed to produce any evidence of underground catacombs or gold. The origin of the reptilian conspiracy was essentially just some random guy's attempt to make a quick buck during the Great Depression.
That's what I wanted it to say. It was all just a con of a guy trying to make some quick money during the Great Depression to take money from people in order to give them some false hope. So, there you have it, folks. That's all we're going to do tonight. I realize it's already been a long episode. We did not get through all of the information. We will continue it another night to talk specifically about David Icke and what he teaches. But that is the origin and overview summary of the Lizard People conspiracy. And guess what? Nonsense, bullshit, garbage. All of it. All of it.
Skeptical robot. Nonsense, bullshit, garbage. Skeptical robot.
That's a shirt.
Yes, it is.
It needs an American flag, but all of the colors are just the words nonsense, bullshit, garbage.
The bullshit's just like 50 turds in white.
Yes.
On the flag.
Thank you so much for being here, folks. It was great to be back. I actually found myself missing last Friday's episode. Like I was like, we should do something, but I was too drunk. So thank you for being here, everybody. We love you. We are so grateful. Thank you to everyone who super chatted. Thank you so much. It is not necessary, but it does make this a little bit more exciting for us. Before we go, I would love it, Chops. Can I get you to plug anything you want, sir?
Hell yeah. Check us out on WGNN with Corp, Corn, and I. God, all of our names begin with C. I just recognized that. That's so damn cool.
Yeah, X.
Oh, he's got an X. Okay, XC. There you go.
Spell stuff weird.
Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday at CORNdiff.
It's pronounced Corp.
Corp.
And Gummy, what would you like to plug?
Hey, YouTube, it's the Gummi Chainsaw, one word. I released my first episode this past Tuesday of a horrifying game of me having sleep paralysis for about an hour, and a very uncomfortable game about me walking around an empty pool room.
They're both scary games. Like,
yes.
Definitely, folks.
Yeah.
Like, if you're into the horror game genre, these are creepy games. They're really good, though.
I was gonna do 2 episodes a week, but I've never had to do full episodes to edit. And I realized this shit's a lot of work, so I'm gonna be doing just 1 episode a week until I get the full hang of it. Yeah. So at least for the rest of this month, it'll just be on Tuesday afternoons. I 1 is when they'll drop, and then by next month, hopefully, I'll be doing Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Awesome. And for me, Please check me out on Hack Ride Studios on Sundays and Thursdays. Sunday we do Unboxing Eric. It's right after the Blind Mike Project, sometimes noon, sometimes 1, somewhere right around there. And also Thursdays we do Unboxing Riley Martin or Unboxing Bigfoot. It is that is usually around 7 o'clock Central. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. I love every one of you. You guys are wonderful. We have been storing up a lot of members only content that we will be releasing soon. Maybe we'll release some next week for some members only. Definitely been trying to make it more appetizing for people to become a member. We've got some fun stuff, a little bit of a different tone than the Skeptical Robot show. We are going to be reviewing a lot of nostalgic stuff, and we had a lot of fun doing it. All right. Now, we always save CORNdiff for last, but he has his own intro for Kernels of Knowledge. If you do the math, that's cock.
Nice.
What you got for us, CORNdiff?
Nice. First, I do have one thing to plug. I made a bird feeder stream on YouTube.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing.
It's at AVN Ops. AVNOPS. Go there. Use it. All right. Kernels of wisdom.
Knowledge. Cock.
Only a soggy waffle truly understands the burden of a pocket full of string. Take care of yourself.
Good night, folks.
Good night, everyone.
That's right, it sucks.